Tonight, no lessons, just simple, wise old stories. Each a warm cup of tea for your mind. You'll meet a monk who says, "Eat tea to answer enlightenment questions." A master who burns a Buddha statue to show true sacredness. A rice basket that teaches presence better than meditation. A shout that stops overthinking. And wine that proves happiness is in the now. These aren't just past tales, they're gentle guides to let go of noise. Calm isn't found, it's noticed in the ordinary. A breath, a cup of tea. By the end, you'll sleep easy, carrying this quiet into tomorrow. Need more of this calm? Hit subscribe to keep these stories coming. Loved a moment? Drop a like and comment. Tell me which story resonated or your quiet moment tonight. We're here together in this stillness. Let's begin. Close your eyes gently if you feel comfortable. Let the weight of the day start to melt away from your shoulders, like dewdrops sliding off a leaf in the early morning. Breathe in slowly through your nose, filling your lungs with air that feels soft and cool, as if it's been filtered through the pine forests of an ancient mountain. Hold it for a moment, then exhale through your mouth, letting out any tension that's been lingering in your chest, maybe a worry about tomorrow, a leftover frustration from a conversation, or just the quiet tiredness of being busy. With each breath, let your body sink a little deeper into whatever you're resting on. Whether it's a bed, a couch, or a chair, your hands can rest loosely, palms up or down. No need to grip anything. Your feet can be flat on the floor or tucked under you, whatever feels most at ease. Now, let your mind start to drift, like a leaf floating down a calm river. We're going back in time to a place in China over 1,000 years ago. It's the Tang Dynasty, a time when Buddhism was blooming and Zen monasteries dotted the mountains like quiet pearls. The air there smells of pine and incense, mixed with the earthy scent of tea leaves drying in the sun. The sound of a wooden fish being struck echoes from a distant hall, slow and steady, marking the rhythm of the day for the monks who live there. This is the Guanyan Monastery, where a wise old Zen master named Jiaozhou lives. Everyone knows him. His hair is white like snow, tied back in a simple knot, and his face is lined with the marks of a life spent thinking, teaching, and drinking tea. His eyes are soft but sharp, like he can see right through the noise in people's minds to the quiet truth underneath. One morning, the monastery's courtyard is bathed in golden sunlight. The monks are going about their usual tasks. Some are sweeping the stone paths, their brooms making a soft, swishing sound. Others are carrying buckets of water from the well, their steps slow and deliberate. Near the east wall, there's a small pavilion with a low wooden table and a few stools. That's where Master Jiaozhou likes to sit when he talks to visitors. Today, a young monk has come from a faraway temple, hoping to learn from him. The young monk is nervous. His hands are clasped tightly in front of him, and his forehead is slightly damp with sweat. He's heard stories about Master Jiaozhou, how the master doesn't use big, fancy words to teach, how he often answers questions with something that seems simple, even silly, but holds a deep meaning. The young monk wants to ask about enlightenment, that big, scary word that all monks talk about. He wants to know how to get it, how to feel that sense of complete peace and understanding that everyone says is possible. Master Jiaozhou sees the young monk standing at the edge of the courtyard, looking unsure. He waves him over with a slow, gentle hand. "Come," he says, his voice like warm honey. "Sit." The young monk hurries over and sits down on one of the stools, his back straight, his hands still clasped. Before he can say a word, Master Jiaozhou reaches for a small clay teapot on the table. The teapot is brown, with tiny cracks along the side, evidence of years of use. He pours hot water into a small cup, then adds a handful of dried tea leaves. The leaves unfurl slowly in the water, turning it a pale golden color, and a faint, sweet aroma fills the air. "Master," the young monk says, leaning forward a little, "I've traveled a long way to ask you something. What is enlightenment? How can I find it?" He holds his breath, waiting for a grand answer, something about meditating for years, or reading hundreds of scriptures, or giving up all his worldly possessions. Master Jiaozhou doesn't look up. He stirs the tea gently with a bamboo spoon, then pushes the cup toward the young monk. "Have some tea," he says. The young monk blinks. He's confused. Did the master not hear him? "But master," he says, a little louder, "I'm asking about enlightenment. I want to know how to awaken to the truth. I've been practicing for years, but I still feel lost. What should I do?" Master Jiaozhou lifts his own cup of tea and takes a slow sip. He closes his eyes for a moment, savoring the taste, then opens them again and looks at the young monk. "Have some tea," he says again, his voice calm, like he's stating the most obvious thing in the world. The young monk sits there, staring at the cup of tea. It's steaming slightly, and the leaves are now floating gently at the bottom. He doesn't understand. Why is the master talking about tea when he's asking about something so important? He's traveled for weeks, walked through mountains and rivers, left his friends and his temple, and all he gets is "have some tea." He feels a little frustrated, maybe even a little angry. But then he looks at Master Jiaozhou's face. The master isn't smiling, but his eyes are kind. There's no trick in them, no hidden joke. He's just offering tea. Slowly, the young monk reaches for the cup. The clay is warm in his hands, not too hot. He brings it to his lips and takes a small sip. The tea is slightly bitter at first, but then there's a sweet aftertaste that lingers on his tongue. He takes another sip, and this time he pays attention. He notices the warmth spreading down his throat into his chest. He notices the way the steam curls up toward his face, soft and ticklish. He notices the sound of a bird singing in a nearby tree, a sound he didn't hear before. He notices the way the sunlight is hitting the master's hands, making the wrinkles look like tiny rivers. For a moment, he forgets about enlightenment. He forgets about his questions, his worries, his long journey. All he is doing is drinking tea, and in that moment, something shifts. It's not a big, dramatic shift. Nothing flashes before his eyes. Nothing makes a loud noise. It's more like a fog lifting. He realizes that he's been so busy looking for enlightenment somewhere else, in books, in meditation, in the words of masters, that he's been missing what's right in front of him. The tea, the sunlight, the bird's song, the warmth of the cup in his hands. That's the truth, not something far away, not something he has to work for years to get. It's right here, right now. In the simple act of drinking tea, Master Jiaozhou watches him, and a small smile tugs at the corner of his mouth. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to. He knows the young monk has understood. Later that day, another visitor comes to the monastery. This one is an old scholar, a man who has read every Buddhist scripture he can find. He's wearing a long, flowing robe, and he carries a scroll under his arm. He's come to debate with Master Jiaozhou to prove that he knows more about Zen than anyone else. He marches into the courtyard, his head held high, and demands to see the master. Master Jiaozhou is still sitting in the pavilion, drinking tea. He looks up at the scholar and waves him over. "Sit," he says. The scholar sits down, but he doesn't relax. He leans forward, his eyes sharp, ready to argue. "Master Jiaozhou," he says, "I have studied the teachings of the Buddha for decades. I have read the Diamond Sutra, the Lotus Sutra, the Heart Sutra of them. I know the difference between form and emptiness, between self and no self. But there's one thing I still don't understand. What is the essence of Zen? What is the most important thing a person can learn?" Master Jiaozhou picks up his teapot again. He pours more hot water into the scholar's empty cup, then adds some fresh tea leaves. The aroma fills the air again, sweet and earthy. He pushes the cup toward the scholar. "Have some tea," he says. The scholar's face turns red. He slams his fist on the table, making the cups rattle. "How dare you," he says. "I've come here to have a serious discussion about Zen, and you just tell me to drink tea. Do you think I'm a child? Answer my question." Master Jiaozhou takes another sip of his tea. He doesn't seem upset by the scholar's anger. He just looks at him calmly and says, "Have some tea." The scholar stares at the master, his chest heaving. He's so angry he can barely speak. But then he looks at the cup of tea. It's sitting there, steaming, waiting for him. He thinks about all the books he's read, all the arguments he's had, all the time he's spent trying to understand Zen. The tea is real. The warmth is real. The moment is real. All his knowledge, all his theories, they're just words. They're not the thing itself. Slowly, the scholar's anger fades. He reaches for the cup, his hands a little shaky. He takes a sip. The tea is hot, and it burns his tongue a little, but he doesn't care. He tastes the bitterness, then the sweetness. He feels the warmth spread through his body. For a second, he forgets about all his books, all his debates. He's just drinking tea. And in that second, he understands. The essence of Zen isn't in the books. It's not in the arguments. It's in the tea. It's in the moment. It's in being present, right here, right now. Master Jiaozhou nods. He doesn't say anything, but the scholar knows he's got it. As the day turns into evening, the sun dips below the mountains, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. The monks light lanterns in the courtyard, their soft glow flickering on the stone paths. Master Jiaozhou is still sitting in the pavilion, drinking tea. A young novice monk comes over, carrying a basket of vegetables. He's been watching the master all day, watching how he talks to the visitors, how he just offers tea instead of giving long speeches. "Master," the novice says, sitting down next to him, "I saw you talk to the young monk and the scholar today. You told both of them to have some tea, but their questions were different. Why did you give them the same answer?" Master Jiaozhou pours a cup of tea for the novice. The tea is now a little cooler, but still warm, because their problem was the same, he says. The novice looks confused. "What do you mean?" Master Jiaozhou takes a slow breath, looking out at the lanterns. The young monk was looking for enlightenment in the future. He thought it was something he had to get, something far away. The scholar was looking for Zen in the past, in books and ideas. But both of them were missing the present. They were both stuck in their heads, thinking, worrying, wanting instead of being here, in the moment. Tea is just tea. It's not an answer to a question. It's a reminder to stop thinking and start being, to stop looking for something else and start noticing what's already here. The novice takes a sip of his tea. He thinks about his day, how he rushed through his chores, worrying about making a mistake, how he thought about dinner while he was sweeping, how he wondered when he would get to meditate instead of just meditating. He realizes he's been doing the same thing as the young monk and the scholar. He's been missing the present too. Does that mean enlightenment is just drinking tea? The novice asks. Quietly, Master Jiaozhou smiles. He picks up a tea leaf from the table and holds it up to the light. Enlightenment is not drinking tea, and it's not drinking tea. It's just drinking tea without thinking about enlightenment, without thinking about the past or the future, without thinking about anything at all, just being with the tea in this moment. That's all. The novice nods. He takes another sip of tea, and this time he doesn't think about anything. He just feels the warmth, tastes the flavor, smells the aroma. He listens to the wind rustling through the pine trees, to the lanterns creaking softly, to the master's gentle breathing. For the first time all day, he feels completely at peace. As the night gets darker, the stars come out, bright and clear, like diamonds scattered across the sky. Master Jiaozhou stands up slowly, stretching his old bones. He puts the teapot and cups back into a small basket, then pats the novice on the shoulder. "Time to sleep," he says. "Tomorrow, we'll drink tea again." The novice stands up too, feeling light and calm. He walks back to his dormitory, his steps slow and steady. He doesn't think about anything except the feeling of the cool night air on his face, the sound of his own footsteps on the stone path, and the faint taste of tea still on his tongue. He knows that tomorrow there will be chores to do, prayers to say, and maybe more visitors to talk to. But right now, there's just this moment, and that's enough. This is the wisdom of Master Jiao's. Have some tea. It's not a trick. It's not a riddle. It's a simple reminder that the most important thing in life isn't something we have to search for. It's not something we have to earn or learn or understand. It's right here, right now, in the cup of tea in our hands, in the breath we're taking, in the sound of the world around us. We just have to stop for a moment, let go of our thoughts, and notice it tonight as you lie here, getting ready to sleep. Maybe you can bring that wisdom with you. Notice the feeling of your blanket against your skin. Notice the sound of your own breathing. Notice the quiet of the room around you. Don't think about tomorrow. Don't think about today. Just be here, in this moment, like drinking a cup of tea without any thoughts. That's where peace lives. That's where the truth lives. Breathe in again, slow and deep. Breathe out, letting go of anything that's still holding you. Let your eyes stay closed, if they're closed. Let your body feel heavy, relaxed. And remember, tomorrow there will be time for everything. But right now, there's just this moment, and that's enough. Let the quiet from the last moment linger a little longer. Keep your eyes soft, your breath slow, like the mist that hangs over a mountain lake at dawn, not in a hurry to lift. Feel how your body has already started to settle, how the edges of your thoughts have grown softer, fuzzier, like wool left out in the rain. Now, let's drift a little further back in that same Tang dynasty to a monastery nestled in the Huangmei Mountains. The air here is thicker, scented with the damp earth of the forest and the sharp, clean smell of pine resin. The sound of water trickling down stone walls weaves through the air, mixing with the low murmur of monks chanting in the distance. This is Dongshan Monastery, where Master Hongren lives, the fifth patriarch of Zen, a man whose eyes hold the quiet weight of decades spent guiding others toward the truth. Master Hongren is getting old. His hair is more white than black, and his hands shake a little when he holds his wooden prayer beads. But his voice is still strong, deep, like the roots of the ancient cypress tree that stands in the monastery's main courtyard. The tree is hundreds of years old, its branches spreading wide enough to cover half the courtyard, its bark rough and gnarled, marked with the scars of storms and time. Every morning, the monks gather under that tree to listen to Master Hongren teach. Every evening, they circle it 3 times in prayer. Their steps light, their minds focused. One day, as the sun climbs high enough to cast dappled shadows through the cypress leaves, Master Hongren calls all the monks together. He stands at the base of the tree, his hands clasped in front of him, and looks out at the faces before him, young monks with bright eyes, old monks with lined foreheads, all waiting to hear what he has to say. "I am growing weak," he says, his voice carrying clearly over the quiet rustle of leaves. "Soon I will need to pass on the robe and the Dharmatha teachings of the Buddha to one of you, but I cannot choose blindly. I need to know who has truly understood the nature of the mind. So I ask this of you. Each of you write a Gatha short poem describing what you think the true self is. The one whose Gatha shows the deepest understanding will be my successor." The monks murmur among themselves, their voices low. Everyone knows who the favorite is: Shang Shu, the head monk. Shang Shu is wise and learned. He's studied the scriptures for years, and he's Master Hongren's closest disciple. He helps teach the younger monks. He leads the chants. He keeps the monastery's records in order. All the monks assume Shang Shu will be the one to write the perfect Gatha. That night, the monastery is quiet. The moon hangs low in the sky, its silver light spilling over the roof tiles and onto the stone paths. Shenshu paces back and forth in his small room, his eyebrow furrowed. He wants to write a Gatha that shows he understands the mind, but he's stuck. He thinks about all he's learned, about form and emptiness, about purifying the mind, about letting go of attachments. But the more he thinks, the more tangled his thoughts become, like a ball of thread that's been dropped and stepped on. Finally, as the first hint of dawn colors the sky pink, he has an idea. He slips out of his room, his feet light on the cool stones, and goes to the wall of the main hall where everyone can see it. He takes a brush and ink and writes his Gatha quickly, then slips away before anyone can see him. Bodhi is like a mirror stand, bright and clear, without dust. Always wipe it carefully. Do not let it gather dust. When the monks wake up and see they gather around, whispering in admiration. "This is wonderful," one says. "It means the mind is like a mirror, We just need to keep it clean, free from the dust of greed and anger and ignorance. Shenshu must have written this. Another says, who else could understand so deeply? Master Hongren comes to see the Gatha too. He reads it slowly, then nods. This Gatha shows good understanding, he says. Teach it to the other monks. It will help them practice well. But he doesn't say it's perfect. He doesn't say Shengshu is his successor. There's a quiet pause in his voice, like he's waiting for something more. Now, let's meet Huineng. Huineng isn't like the other monks. He's not learned. He can't read or write. He grew up poor, selling firewood to support his widowed mother in a small village far from the monastery. A few years ago, he heard a monk chanting a line from the Diamond Sutra, "Let your mind be free from attachments." In that moment, something clicked. He felt a sudden, quiet clarity, like a window being opened in a dark room. He knew he had to find Master Hongren to learn more. So he said goodbye to his mother, gave her all the money he had, and walked for months to reach Dongshan Monastery. When he arrived, Master Hongren asked him where he was from and what he wanted. Huineng said, "I'm from Shinzhou. I want nothing but to become a Buddha." Master Hongren smiled, a little surprised by his directness. "You're a southerner barbarians from the south. Don't become Buddhas," he said, teasing gently. Huineng replied, "Northerners and southerners are different in body, but not in the nature of the Buddha. What's the difference between a barbarian and a nobleman when it comes to the mind?" Master Hongren was impressed by his wisdom, but he didn't show it. Instead, he sent Huineng to work in the monastery's kitchen, pounding rice to make porridge for the other monks. Huineng didn't complain. He worked quietly, day after day, pounding rice with a heavy wooden pestle, his mind calm, his hands moving in a steady rhythm. A few days after Shengshu's Gatha appeared on the wall, Huineng heard two monks talking about it as they carried water to the kitchen. He stopped pounding rice and asked them what the Gatha said. One of the monks read it to him, his voice proud, like he was reciting a sacred text. When he finished, Huineng shook his head. "That Gatha is good, but it doesn't really understand the true nature of the mind," he said. "If you keep wiping a mirror, you're still thinking there's a mirror to wipe and dust to clean. But the mind isn't a mirror. It's not something that can get dirty in the first place." The monks stared at him, surprised. "What do you know?" one said. "You're just a kitchen worker. You can't even read." But Huineng didn't get angry. He just smiled and said, "I may not be able to read or write, but I have a Gatha. Can someone write it down for me?" The monks hesitated. Then one of them, curious, they took Huineng to the main hall, where Shengshu's Gatha was still on the wall. A crowd gathered, whispering, as Huineng dictated his Gatha. "Originally, there is nothing at all. Where can dust gather? Bodhi is not a tree. The mirror is not a stand." The moment the last word is written, the air in the hall seems to still. The monks stop whispering. Even the wind outside seems to hold its breath. Master Hongren, who has been standing in the doorway, watching, steps forward. He reads the Gatha slowly, his eyes widening a little. Then he looks at Huinengus, poor, uneducated man from the south, his hands still rough from pounding rice, and nods. But he doesn't say anything. Instead, he takes a cloth and wipes Shengshu's Gatha off the wall, leaving only Huineng's. Then he turns to the monks and says, "This is the true understanding. Remember these words well." That night, when the monastery is dark and quiet, Master Hongren goes to the kitchen. Huneng is still there, sitting on the floor, his back against the wall, his eyes closed, breathing slowly. The moonlight comes through the small window, casting a silver stripe across his face. Master Hongren taps him on the shoulder. "Come," he says, his voice soft. Huneng stands up and follows the master to his private chambra, small room with only a bed, a table, and a shelf filled with ancient scriptures. Master Hongren closes the door, then takes a small, silk-wrapped bundle from the shelf. He unwraps it to reveal a red robe's soft worn, stitched with tiny lotus flowers and a wooden scroll case. This robe is the symbol of the patriarchate, Master Hongren says, handing the robe to Huneng. This scroll holds the core teachings of Zen. I pass them to you now as the sixth patriarch. But be careful, there will be those who are jealous. They will try to take the robe from you. Leave the monastery tonight, go south, and wait for the right time to teach. Do not stay here. Huneng takes the robe and the scroll, his hands trembling not with fear, but with awe. "Thank you, Master," he says, his voice quiet. "I will do as you say." Master Hongren walks Huneng to the back gate of the monastery, where a small boat waits on the river. The water is dark, reflecting the stars like scattered pieces of glass. "I will row you across," Master Hongren says. Huneng shakes his head. "You are my master. I should row for you." Master Hongren smiles. "Tonight, I row for you. Tomorrow, you will row for others by teaching them the truth of the mind." They get in the boat, and Master Hongren picks up the oars. The boat glides silently across the river, the only sound the soft splash of the oars and the wind in the reeds. "Tell me," Master Hongren says, "what do you see when you look at the river?" Huneng looks out at the water, dark and still. "I see nothing but the river," he says. "No past, no future, just the water, right now. Just as the mind is. No dust, no mirror, just itself." Master Hongren nods. "You have truly understood. Remember, the mind is not something to fix, or clean, or change. It is already pure, already perfect, like the river, like the stars, like the air we breathe. The only thing that keeps us from seeing that is our own thinking, our belief that we need to get better, or find enlightenment, or purify ourselves. But originally, there is nothing at all to purify. There is nothing to find. There is just this." When they reach the other side of the river, Huneng steps out of the boat. He turns to bow to Master Hongren, but the master waves him away. "Go," he says, "before the sun rises. And remember, when you teach, do not use big words. Do not talk about scriptures or theories. Talk about the mind, simple, clear, always here. Help others see that they already have what they're looking for." Huneng bows once more, then turns and walks into the darkness of the forest. The robe is heavy on his shoulders, but his heart is lighter than it has ever been. He walks for days through mountains and valleys, hiding from those who would chase him for the robe. He lives in a village of hunters for years, working with them, eating with them, never talking about Zen until one day a hunter asks him why he never eats meat. "All living things have the same mind," Huneng says. "Why would I hurt something that is just like me?" The hunter pauses, then puts down his bow. "Tell me more," he says, and so Huneng begins to teach. He doesn't stand in grand halls or wear fancy robes. He sits under trees or in small huts, talking to farmers and hunters and tailors anyone who will listen. He tells them about the mind that is originally pure, about the nothing at all that is everything. He says, if you want to find enlightenment, stop looking outside yourself. Look at your own mind right now. What do you see? Thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. Feelings come and go like waves in the ocean. But the sky is always there, even when there are clouds. The ocean is always there, even when there are waves. That is your true mind, calm, clear, unchanging. Originally, there is nothing at all to disturb it. One day, a monk comes to Huning carrying a bamboo staff. He's traveled a long way, and he's angry. I heard you're the one who took the patriarch's robe, he says. Prove to me you're worthy. What is the essence of Zen? Huineng looks at the monk, then at his staff. Put down your staff, he says. The monk hesitates, then puts the staff on the ground. Now pick it up, Huineng says. The monk picks it up. Now put it down again, Huineng says. The monk puts it down, confused. What does this mean? He asks. Huineng smiles. When you held the staff, you thought, I am holding a staff. When you put it down, you thought, I am putting down a staff. But where is the I that is holding or putting down? Where is the staff that is being held or put down? Originally, there is nothing at all, no I, no staff, no holding, no putting down. There is just the moment happening. That is the essence of Zen. The monk stares at Huning, then slowly his shoulders relax. He drops to his knees and bows. I see now, he says. I've been carrying this staff and this anger and this desire to prove myself like they were real. But they're just thoughts, just clouds in the sky. Huineng helps him stand up. Now you can walk without the staff, he says. Years later, Huineng becomes known as one of the greatest Zen masters of all time. His teachings spread across China, then across the world. He never forgot Master Hongren's words, never forgot the truth of originally there is nothing at all. He taught until the day he died, sitting under a tree, surrounded by his disciples. His last words were simple. The mind is pure by nature. Do not be confused by appearances. Just see your own mind, and you will be free. As you lie here now, let that truth sink in. Your mind is not a mirror that needs cleaning. It is not a thing that can be dirtied by thoughts or feelings. Thoughts come like clouds. Feelings come like waves. But underneath them quiet, steady, unchanging is your true mind. Originally, there is nothing at all to worry about, nothing to fix, nothing to find. There is just this moment, your breath, your body, the quiet around you. Breathe in and feel that quiet. Breathe out and let go of any thought that says you need to be different. Let your body grow heavier, your mind lighter. Imagine the Huangmei Mountains, the quiet river, the ancient cypress tree. Imagine Huineng walking through the forest, his heart light, the robe heavy, but his mind free. And remember, you are already that free. You are already that pure. Originally, there is nothing at Alex kept this. Right now, let your eyes stay soft, your breath slow. Let the world outside fade, and let the quiet inside grow. There is nothing to do, nothing to think, nothing to be, just this. Let the quiet from Huinen's story wrap around you like a soft blanket. Keep your breath slow, your body relaxed like a bird, settling into its nest at dusk. No hurry, no worry. Feel how the weight of the day has grown even lighter, how your thoughts have softened into gentle ripples rather than sharp waves. Now, let's drift to another corner of the Tang dynasty, to a monastery tucked away in the lush green hills of Gingshe province. This is Beijing Monastery, named after the master who lives here, Master Beijing. The air here smells of fresh soil and growing things, of bamboo and wildflowers. The sound of axes striking wood and water being poured into irrigation ditches mixes with the monks' morning chants, creating a rhythm that feels like the earth itself breathing. Master Beijing is a tall man, with broad shoulders and hands calloused from years of work. His hair is tied back in a simple bun, and his robe is plain, patched in a few places from long use. Unlike some masters who spend their days sitting in meditation or teaching in halls, Master Beijing is almost always outside, working alongside the other monks. At dawn, you'll find him in the fields, planting rice or weeding vegetables, his back straight, his movements steady. At midday, he's in the forest, cutting wood for the monastery's stoves, his axe swinging in a slow, sure arc. In the evening, he's mending the monastery's roofs or repairing the wooden fences around the fields, his fingers deft even as the sun dips low. The monks here don't just meditate or study scriptures, they work hard. Every monk, from the youngest novice to the oldest elder, has a task. Some tend to the fields, some cook, some make pottery for the monastery's use, some repair tools. No one is exempt, and Master Beijing leads by example. He never asks a monk to do something he wouldn't do himself. If the monks are planting rice in the rain, Master Beijing is there, his robe soaked through mud on his shoes. If they're up before dawn to grind wheat into flour, Master Beijing is beside them, turning the millstone, his breath coming steady. One morning, as the first light of day paints the sky in soft yellows and pinks, the monks gather in the courtyard for their morning prayer. The youngest novice, a boy named Xiaoming, stands at the back, his eyes heavy with sleep. He's only been at the monastery for a month, and he's still getting used to the early hours and the hard work. Last night, he spent hours mending a broken plow, and this morning his hands ache. As they chant, he finds himself daydreaming about his home in the village, about his mother's sweet rice cakes, about lying in the sun and doing nothing at all. He thinks, why do we have to work so hard? Isn't Buddhism about letting go of desire, about finding peace in stillness? Why are we out here, sweating and tired, when we could be meditating? After prayer, the monks head to the fields to plant rice. The soil is wet and cool under their bare feet. Master Beijing is at the front of the line, bending down to push a rice seedling into the mud. One after another, his movements smooth and rhythmic. Xiaoming stands beside him, trying to keep up, but his back hurts and his hands are clumsy. He drops a seedling into the water and it floats away. He sighs, frustrated, and stops for a moment to rub his back. Master Beijing notices. He straightens up, wiping sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand, and looks at Xiaoming. Tired? He asks, his voice gentle, not scolding. Xiaoming nods, his cheeks pink with embarrassment. Yes, master, he says. I don't understand. Why do we have to work so much? Can't we just meditate and study? Isn't that what being a monk is about? Master Bazing smiles. He gestures for Xiaoming to sit down on the edge of the field, under a nearby willow tree. The leaves of the willow hang down like green curtains, softening the sunlight. They sit in silence for a moment, listening to the sound of the other monks planting rice. The sound of water rippling in the fields. The sound of a bird singing in the willow branches. Tell me, Xiaoming, Master Beijing says finally, when you were at home, did your mother ever make rice cakes for you? Xiaoming's face lights up. Yes, Master. She made the best rice cakes, sweet, with red beans inside. I loved them. Did she make them by magic? Master Beijing asks. Xiaoming laughs. No, Master. She had to grind the rice into flour first, then mix it with water and sugar, then steam it. It took a long time. Did she complain? Xiaoming shakes his head. No, she said. Making rice cakes for me made her happy. She said the work was worth it because she loved me. Master Beijing nods. And when you ate those rice cakes, did you feel happy? Yes, Xiaoming says, his voice soft. Very happy. Work is not the opposite of meditation, Xiaoming, Master Beijing says. Work is meditation. When your mother ground the rice, she wasn't just working, she was putting her love into that flour. When she mixed the dough, she was thinking of you, of how you would smile when you tasted it. That's mindfulness. That's being present. When we plant rice here, we're not just growing food, we're taking care of each other. We're putting our care into the soil, into the seedlings. When we cook the rice, we're feeding the monks so they can meditate, so they can study, so they can help others. The work connects us to each other, to the earth, to the food we eat, to the life we live. He pauses, then points to the rice seedlings in the field. Look at those seedlings. They don't grow by themselves. They need sun, they need water, they need us to plant them, to weed around them, to protect them from bugs. We work for them, and they work for us. They give us food. That's the circle of life. If we didn't work, we wouldn't have food. If we didn't have food, we couldn't meditate or study. Work is not a burden. It's a gift. It's a way to show gratitude to the earth, to each other, to the Buddha's teachings. Xiaoming looks at the seedlings. He thinks about his mother, grinding rice, her hands moving slowly, her face calm. He thinks about the rice cakes, warm in his hands, sweet on his tongue. He thinks about the monks eating the rice they plant, their bellies full, their minds clear for meditation. For a moment, he doesn't feel tired anymore. He feels a quiet connection to the soil, to the seedlings, to the work. I understand, Master, he says, standing up. Can we go back to planting now? Master Beijing smiles. Of course. They walk back to the field, and Xiaoming bends down to plant a seedling. This time, he takes his time. He gently pushes the seedling into the mud, making sure it's straight. He feels the cool water on his hands, the soft soil between his fingers. He listens to the other monks talking quietly as they work, to the sound of the wind in the willow tree. He's not thinking about his tired back or his aching hands. He's just planting rice. And in that moment, it feels like meditation. It feels like peace. As the years pass, Xiaoming grows into a young monk. He still works in the fields, but now he does it with a calm heart. He teaches the new novices how to plant rice, how to mend tools, how to cook just as Master Beijing taught him. He tells them, work is love made visible. When you work with mindfulness, when you put your heart into what you do, you're not just doing a task, you're practicing Buddhism. You're being present. You're showing gratitude. One day, Master Beijing grows old. His back bends a little, and his hands shake when he holds the axe. The monks gather around him, worried. "Master," they say, "you're too old to work. Let us do the work for you. You should rest, meditate, teach us." Master Beijing shakes his head. "No," he says, "I have always worked alongside you, and I will continue to do so. No work, no food. That is our rule. I am a monk of this monastery, just like you. I must work to eat." The monks protest. "But Master, your hands are too weak. You can't cut wood or plant rice anymore." Master Beijing thinks for a moment. Then he smiles. "Then I will weave baskets. I can still weave." And so, every day, Master Beijing sits in the courtyard, weaving baskets from bamboo strips. His hands move slowly, but they're steady. He weaves small baskets for the monks to carry vegetables, medium baskets for storing grain, large baskets for carrying wood. The monks watch him, their hearts filled with respect. They see how he focuses on each strip of bamboo, how he doesn't rush, how he smiles as he works. They see that even in old age, he still lives by his rule. No work, no food. One afternoon, Xiaoming now, a senior monk, sits beside Master Beijing as he weaves. The sun is warm, and the courtyard is quiet. "Master Zhao," Ming says, "your baskets are beautiful, but why do you keep working? You don't have to prove anything to us. We already know how wise you are." Master Beijing holds up a half-finished basket. "This basket is not for proving anything," he says. "It's for carrying vegetables. The monks need it, and weaving it keeps my mind clear. When I weave, I don't think about the past or the future. I just think about the bamboo, about each twist and turn. It's meditation, it's life. If I stop working, I stop living fully. Work keeps me connected to you, to the monastery, to the earth. It keeps me humble. When you work with your hands, you remember that you are part of something bigger than yourself. You remember that no one is better than anyone else. We all work, we all eat, we all meditate, we all learn." He pauses, then adds, "The Buddha didn't sit in a palace and teach. He walked the countryside. He begged for food. He worked with his hands. He taught that enlightenment is not found in luxury or idleness. It's found in living simply, in being kind, in working hard for the good of others. No work, no food is not just a rule for this monastery. It's a way of life. It's a reminder that we must earn our place in the world, not through words, but through actions. It's a reminder that every moment, every task is a chance to practice mindfulness, to practice love, to practice gratitude." Xiaoming nods. He looks at the basket in Master Beijing's hands, at the way the bamboo strips are woven together, strong and flexible. He thinks about the monastery, the fields, the kitchens, the meditation halls, and how all of it is held together by work, by the hands of the monks, by the love and care they put into everything they do. He thinks about how far he's come, from the tired novice who wanted to do nothing but rest, to the monk who finds peace in planting rice and mending tools. He owes it all to Master Beijing, to this rule of no work, no food. As the sun sets, Master Beijing finishes the basket. He holds it up, admiring it. This will be good for carrying tomatoes, he says, smiling. The tomatoes are ripe, now juicy and sweet. We'll have them for dinner tonight. Xiao Ming takes the basket from him. I'll pick the tomatoes, he says. Thank you, Master, for teaching me the truth of work, for teaching me to find peace in the doing. Master Beijing pats his hand. You're welcome, Xiao Ming. Now go before the sun sets completely. And remember, every time you pick a tomato, every time you weave a basket, every time you plant a seedling, you're practicing Buddhism. You're being present. You're living the Dharma. Xiao Ming walks to the tomato patch, the basket in his hands. The tomatoes are red and round, glowing in the last light of the sun. He picks one, wipes it on his robe, and takes a bite. It's sweet, juicy, perfect. He thinks about Master Beijing weaving baskets in the courtyard. He thinks about the monks working in the fields, cooking in the kitchen, meditating in the hall. He thinks about the circle of life work, food, meditation, love. And he feels a deep sense of peace, a deep sense of gratitude. Years later, when Master Beijing passes away, the monks of Beijing Monastery continue to live by his rule: no work, no food. They plant rice in the fields, cut wood in the forest, weave baskets in the courtyard. They teach the new novices, just as Master Beijing taught them, that work is meditation, that work is love, that work is the path to enlightenment. And whenever they eat a bowl of rice, or carry vegetables in a bamboo basket, or mend a broken plow, they remember Master Beijing, his calloused hands, his gentle smile, his unwavering belief that work is a gift. As you lie here now, let that truth sink into your bones. Work is not a burden. It's a connection to the people you love, to the things you do, to the world around you. Even the small tasks, the dishes, the laundry, the walking to the store can be mindfulness. They can be present moment. When you wash a dish, don't think about the next thing you have to do. Think about the warm water on your hands, the smell of the soap, the way the dish glows when it's clean. When you fold laundry, think about the softness of the clothes, the way they hold the smell of the sun, the way they'll keep you warm later. Those moments are not wasted. They're life, they're peace. Breathe in and feel the connection to your own hands, your own body, your own life. Breathe out and let go of any resentment you might have about workini, feeling that it's a chore, that it's keeping you from better things. There are no better things. The work is the thing. The moment is the thing. Imagine the fields of Beijing Monastery, green and lush in the sunlight. Imagine the monks working there, their hands in the soil, their minds calm. Imagine Master Beijing weaving a basket, his face soft with concentration. And remember, you too can find peace in the doing. You too can turn work into meditation, into love, into gratitude. Let your body grow heavier, your mind lighter. Let the quiet around you deepen. There is no hurry. There is no worry. There is just this moment, your breath, your body, the gentle rhythm of life. And that is enough. Let the quiet from Beijing's fields stay with you a little while longer. Feel how your breath has settled into a gentle rhythm, like the slow rise and fall of a lake at night. No waves, just a soft pulse. Your body is growing heavier, more at ease, like a stone that has been carried for miles, finally set down on soft earth. Now, let's drift to another mountain, another monastery in the same Tang dynasty. This is Yunmen Mountain, and at its foot sits Yunmen Monastery. The air here is crisp, scented with pine and the faint sweetness of wild plums that grow along the path to the monastery. The sound of a stream cascading down the mountain echoes through the trees, mixing with the occasional chirp of a night bird, creating a melody that feels like a lullaby. Master Yunmen lives here. He is a man of few words, but when he speaks, his voice carries a weight that makes people stop and listen. His face is weathered like the stone walls of the monastery, and his eyes are sharp enough to see through the layers of thought and doubt that wrap around people's minds. He doesn't spend much time in the meditation hall or the lecture room. Most days, you'll find him in the monastery's kitchen, sitting by the fire, or in the courtyard, watching the monks go about their tasks. He likes simple things: a cup of warm tea, a bowl of plain rice, a quiet moment with the sun on his face. And he teaches in simple ways, no long scriptures, no complicated theories, just little moments, little things that hold the whole truth. One morning, the sun rises slowly over Yunmen Mountain, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink. The monks are up early, as usual. Some are sweeping the courtyard, their brooms making a soft, rhythmic swishing sound. Others are carrying water from the stream, their buckets clinking gently. In the kitchen, the smell of cooking porridge fills the air, warm, earthy, comforting. A young monk named Dawei is standing by the kitchen door, staring at the wall. He's been at the monastery for 2 years, and he's become known for his love of asking questions. He wants to know everything. What is the nature of the mind? What is enlightenment? What is the truth that all the masters talk about? He's read all the scriptures he can find. He's listened to all the lectures, but he still feels like he's missing something, like there's a door in front of him, and he can't find the key. Dawei sees Master Yunmen walking toward the kitchen, a small clay pot in his hands. He's going to get some porridge. Dawei takes a deep breath, straightens his robe, and steps forward. "Master," he says, his voice a little shaky, "I have a question." Master Yunmen stops. He looks at Dawei, his eyes soft but sharp, like he already knows what the question will be. "Ask," he says, his voice quiet like the rustle of leaves. Dawei bows slightly. "Master, I've been thinking a lot about the truth. All the scriptures say that the truth is everywhere, that it's in everything, but I can't find it. I meditate for hours. I read the teachings. I try to be mindful, but I still don't see it. Where is the truth? How can I find it?" Master Yunmen doesn't answer right away. He turns and walks into the kitchen. Dawei follows him, his heart beating fast. The kitchen is warm, with a big stone stove in the center. A pot of porridge simmers on the stove, bubbling softly. A few other monks are sitting at a wooden table, eating their breakfast bowls of porridge, a few pickled vegetables, and some small, round hukkaks. Hukkaks are simple things made with flour and water, baked on a hot griddle, slightly crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. They're the monk's favorite breakfast treat, especially when they're still warm. Master Yunmen walks to the table where the hukkaks are placed. He picks one up. It's still warm, steam rising from it, and holds it out to Dawei. "Here," he says, "eat this hukkak." Dawei stares at the hukkak. He's confused. "But master," he says, "I asked about the truth. I want to know where it is, how to find it. What does a hukkak have to do with that?" Master Yunmen doesn't move. He still holds the hookah out, his hand steady. "Eat this hookah," he says again, his voice the same calm, quiet, no urgency. Dawei hesitates. He looks at Master Yunman's face, but he can't read it. There's no smile, no frown, just a calm presence. He takes the hookah from Master Yunman's hand. It's warm, warm enough to make his fingers tingle. He holds it for a moment, then takes a small bite. The outside is crispy, the inside soft. It has a simple, earthy flavor, nothing fancy, just good, warm food. "Master," Dawei says, between bites, "this hookah is good, but I still don't understand. Where is the truth?" Master Yunman sits down at the table and picks up his own bowl of porridge. He takes a slow spoonful, savoring it, then looks at Dawei. "The truth is in the hookah," he says. Dawei stops eating. He blinks. "In the hookah," he says. "But it's just a hookah. It's made of flour and water. It will be gone," Sunitan digested. "How can the truth be in something so ordinary, so temporary?" Master Yunman takes another spoonful of porridge. He looks out the kitchen window, at the sun climbing higher over the mountain, at the pine trees swaying in the wind. "What is the hookah?" he asks, his eyes still on the window. Dawei thinks. "It's a hookah," he says, "made of flour and water, baked on the griddle." "Is that all?" Master Yunman says, turning back to Dawei. "What about the farmer who grew the wheat for the flour? What about the monk who ground the wheat into flour? What about the water from the stream, which we carried here this morning? What about the fire in the stove, which we built with wood from the forest? What about the hands that mixed the dough, that placed it on the griddle, that took it off when it was done? Is the hookah just flour and water, or is it all of those things, all the people, all the places, all the work that went into making it?" Dawei thinks about that. He thinks about the farmer bending over in the fields, planting the wheat. He thinks about the monk turning the millstone, grinding the wheat into flour. He thinks about the monks carrying water from the stream, their buckets heavy. He thinks about the cook mixing the dough, his hands covered in flour. He looks at the hookah in his hand, and suddenly it doesn't seem so ordinary anymore. It seems like a little piece of the world, all the care, all the connections wrapped up in a small, round cake. "The hookah is more than flour and water," Dawei says, slowly. "It's all the things that went into making it, all the people, all the places." Master Yunman nods. "And where are those things now?" he asks. "The farmer is in his field. The millstone is in the courtyard. The stream is on the mountain, but they are all here, in this hookah. The hookah is not separate from them. It is them in this moment. Just as you are not separate from the hookah. You are holding it. You are eating it. You are part of it. And the truth, what is the truth, if not this connection? If not this moment, right here, right now? You, the hookah, the porridge, the sun, the mountain, the stream, all of it, together, in this one moment. That is the truth. You were looking for it somewhere else, in books, in meditation, in big words, but it was right here, in the hookah, in the moment you were in." Dawei takes another bite of the hookah. This time, he tastes more than just flour and water. He tastes the sun that grew the wheat, the rain that watered it, the hands that made it. He feels the warmth of the hookah in his hand, the warmth of the kitchen around him, the warmth of Master Yunman's presence. He listens to the monks talking softly at the table. to the porridge bubbling on the stove, to the stream outside. For a moment, he doesn't think about truth or enlightenment or finding anything. He just is here, now eating a hukak, part of everything around him. And in that moment, he understands. The truth isn't a thing you find, it's a moment you live. It's seeing that everything is connected, that nothing is separate, that every ordinary thing, every hukak, every bowl of porridge, every breath is a part of the whole. I see, Dawei says, his voice soft, almost a whisper. I was looking too hard. I was looking for something big and grand, but the truth is small and ordinary. It's right here, in the moment. Master Yunmen smiles a small, quiet smile. Yes, he says. The truth is not in the future, not in the past, not in the books. It's in the hukak. It's in the breath you take, the food you eat, the people you sit with. It's in the ordinary, because the ordinary is not ordinary at all. It's the whole world, wrapped up in a small moment. Later that day, Dawei is in the courtyard, sweeping the stone paths. He's sweeping slowly, mindfully, paying attention to each stroke of the broom. He notices the way the dust rises in the sunlight, like tiny stars. He notices the way the broom handle feels in his hands, smooth, worn from years of use. He notices the sound of the broom on the stones, soft and rhythmic. A novice monk walks by, carrying a bucket of water. He's in a hurry, his steps fast, his eyes focused on the bucket. Slow down, Dawei says, gently. The novice stops. But I have to take this water to the kitchen, he says. The cook is waiting. Then take it to the kitchen, Dawei says. But don't hurry. Feel the weight of the bucket in your hands. Notice the way the water sloshes a little, the way the sun shines on it. Listen to your steps, to the birds singing. The kitchen will still be there when you get there. The water will still be good. But this moment, this walk, this bucket, this sun will never come again. Don't miss it. It's the truth, too. The novice looks at Dawei, confused for a moment, then nods. He slows down, his steps becoming steady. He looks down at the bucket, at the water shining in the sun. He takes a deep breath, and Dawei sees his shoulders relax. Thank you, the novice says. Before walking on, Dawei smiles. He goes back to sweeping, his heart light. He thinks about Master Yunmen, about the hukak, about the truth that is in every moment. He doesn't need to read more scriptures or meditate for hours. He just needs to be present, to notice, to feel, to be part of the moment he's in that evening. As the sun sets over Yunmen Mountain, painting the sky in shades of purple and pink, the monks gather in the courtyard for their evening prayer. Master Yunmen is sitting on a stone bench, watching them. Dawei walks over and sits down beside him. They sit in silence for a while, watching the sun go down, listening to the monks chant. Master Dawei says, finally, what if I forget? What if I start looking for the truth again in the wrong places? Master Yunmen looks at him. Then eat a hukak, he says. Dawei laughs. Eat a hukak. Yes, Master Yunmen says. When you forget, when you start overthinking, when you start looking for something else, find a hukak, or a bowl of porridge, or a breath, something ordinary. Hold it, feel it, taste it. Remember that the truth is in that moment. It's always there, waiting for you to notice it. You just have to stop looking and start seeing. Dawei nods. He looks at the sun, now just a sliver of orange on the horizon. He feels the cool evening air on his face, the warmth of Master Yunmen beside him. He listens to the monks chanting, soft and melodic. He takes a deep breath, and for a moment, everything feels perfect, complete, connected, true. Years later, Doe becomes a teacher himself. He doesn't give long lectures or write big books. He teaches his disciples the same way Master Yunmen taught him, with small, ordinary things. When a disciple asks about the truth, Doe gives them a hookah or a cup of tea, or tells them to sweep the courtyard slowly. He says, "The truth is not something you learn, it's something you live. It's in the hookah, in the tea, in the sweep of the broom. It's in the moment, because the moment is all there is." And his disciples learn. They learn to slow down, to notice, to be present. They learn that the truth is not in the big, grand moments of life. It's in the small, ordinary ones. It's in the breakfast they eat, the walk they take, the breath they breathe. It's in the hookah, warm in their hands, simple and perfect. As you lie here now, let that truth sink into your heart. You don't have to look for anything. You don't have to understand everything. The truth is right here, in this moment, your breath, your body, the quiet around you. It's in the blanket that covers you, the pillow under your head, the sound of your own heartbeat. It's in the ordinary, because the ordinary is extraordinary. It's the whole world wrapped up in this one moment, just for you. Breathe in and feel the warmth of the moment. Breathe out and let go of any thoughts of finding or understanding. Let your body grow heavier, your mind lighter. Imagine the courtyard of Yunmen Monastery, the sun setting over the mountain, the monks chanting softly. Imagine Master Yunmen and Doe sitting on the stone bench, eating hukuks, watching the world go by. And remember, the truth is here, with you, right now. It's in the quiet, in the breath, in the moment. You just have to see it. Let your eyes stay closed, your breath slow. Let the world outside fade, and let the moment inside grow. There is nothing to do, nothing to think, nothing to find. There is just this you, in this moment, part of everything, and that is enough. Breathe in, sharp and clear, like the sound of a shout. Breathe out, slow and soft, letting go of all the thoughts that pull you away from this moment, thoughts of tomorrow's to-do lists, thoughts of yesterday's mistakes, thoughts of what you should be or should do. Let them drift away, like leaves carried by a stream, until all that's left is the quiet rhythm of your breath, the warmth of your body against the bed, the gentle hush of the world around you. That's the truth Master Lingi was talking about, not something grand or complicated, but this, the simple, unshakable presence of being here. Now, you might notice, as you lie here, that thoughts still come. They'll flit into your mind like birds landing on a branch, quick, curious, not meant to stay. When that happens, you don't need to chase them away. You don't need to judge yourself for having them. Just notice them like you'd notice a bird, and then let them fly away. And if they linger, if they start to weave little stories in your head, you can do what Master Lingi taught. Give yourself a little shout of awareness. Not a loud one, but a quiet nudge. Ah, there's a thought. I'm here now. That's enough. That's waking up. As the night deepens, let the memory of Master Lingi's shout stay with you, not as a sound, but as a feeling, the feeling of breaking free from the cage of your own thoughts, the feeling of stepping into the bright, quiet space. You don't need to hold on to it tightly. Just let it float around you like a soft light, guiding you toward rest. And when you drift toward sleep, remember this: even in sleep, you are present. Even in the quiet of your dreams, you are part of the same truth, the truth of being, of breathing, of being alive. Section 6. Master Dongshan Liangji's Xinfeng Wine. The echo of Master Linji's shout fades into a soft hush, like the last note of a bell dissolving into the night. Let your breath sink even deeper now, slow and steady, like water seeping into the earth after a light rain. Your body is heavy, relaxed, and your mind is calm enough to drift to another corner of the Tang dynasty, to a monastery nestled in the folds of mountains where bamboo grows tall and straight, swaying in the wind like green silk. This is Dongshan Monastery, home to Master Dongshan. The air here carries the sweet, earthy scent of fermented grain and wild chrysanthemums that grow along the paths. The sound of a wooden flute drifts from the west wing of the monastery's low, mournful, yet warm mixing with the distant clink of bowls in the kitchen and the soft murmur of monks talking as they finish their evening chores. Master Dongshan is not a man of fire like Master Lingi. He is quiet, with a face softened by years of gentle observation and a smile that comes easily, like sunlight breaking through clouds. His hair is gray at the temples, tied back with a plain blue ribbon, and his robe is made of soft, well-worn cotton, patched at the elbows from years of folding his hands in meditation or tending to the monastery's small garden. He spends his days walking slowly through the bamboo groves, sitting by the monastery's lotus pond, or sharing weak tea with the monks, never in a hurry, always savoring each moment as if it were a precious jewel. But when he speaks, his words carry a quiet weight, like a stone dropped into still water, sending ripples of understanding through whoever listens. One autumn afternoon, the sky is a soft, hazy blue, and the bamboo leaves are tinged with gold at the edge, of signs that winter will come soon. A young monk named Cheng Yuan stands in the monastery's courtyard, bent over, drawing a map in the dirt with a thin stick. The map is detailed, a winding path that curves around mountains, crosses a river marked with small waves, passes through a tiny village drawn with stick figures, and ends at a circle labeled Xinfeng in careful, neat strokes. Cheng Yuan has been talking about Xinfeng for weeks, a town famous across the region for its wine. He's never tasted it, but he's heard the stories from traveling merchants and visiting monks, how the grapes are grown on sun-drenched slopes, how the wine is aged in clay jars buried underground for years, how it's so rich and sweet that one sip warms you from your toes to the top of your head. Even on the coldest nights, I'm going to go there, Cheng Yuan says, tracing the path to Xinfeng with his stick, his voice filled with excitement. I'll leave next week. I'll walk the path, cross the river, stay in the village if I need to, and when I get to Xinfeng, I'll taste the wine. Everyone says it's not just wine, Master. It's like drinking happiness, like finding something you didn't know you were missing. Master Dongshan, who has been sitting on a stone bench nearby, watching the bamboo sway, stands up slowly. His joints creak, a little old man's reminder of years of work and walking, but his steps are steady. He walks over to Cheng Yuan and looks down at the map in the dirt. The stick figures of the village people are tiny, their arms raised as if waving. The river's waves are little more than squiggles. The circle for Xinfeng is small, but it glows in Chen Yuan's mind like a beacon. Xinfeng is 3 days' walk from here, Master Dongshen says, his voice soft like the rustle of bamboo leaves. The path up the mountain is steep. There are loose stones that can make you slip. The river is cold this time of year, and the current is strong. The village you're thinking of, the people there speak a different dialect you might not understand them. Are you sure you want to go? Cheng Yuan nods eagerly, not letting the warnings dim his excitement. Yes, Master, it will be worth it. To taste that wine, to know what it's like to have something so special, so perfect. I think it will help me understand the Dharma better. Like the sutras say, sometimes you have to go far to find what's close. This is that. Master Dongshen smiles. He bends down and picks up a small, stone-smooth gray, worn by the river, and drops it gently into the center of the circle, labeled Xinfeng, the dirt. The circle disappearing under a cloud of fine earth. The stick figures of the village people are half covered now. The river's squiggles blur. What are you doing? Cheng Guan says, reaching out to brush the dirt away, his voice a little panicked. I spent all morning drawing that. Tell me, Chen Yuan, Master Dongshen says, ignoring the question, his eyes still on the smudged map. What do you think you'll feel when you taste the wine? When you take that first sip, what will happen? Cheng Yuan pauses, closing his eyes to imagine it. He pictures a small clay cup filled with amber-colored wine. He pictures the tavern in Xinfeng warm, with a fire in the hearth, the walls lined with jars. He pictures the taste, sweet, rich, warming. He pictures the feeling of finally finding something special. I'll feel complete, he says, opening his eyes. Like a puzzle that's missing one piece, and I've found it. Like all the questions I have about the Dharma, about life, will make sense. Because if something as simple as wine can be that perfect, then the rest of life must have that perfection too. I just need to taste it to believe it. Master Dongshen nods. He gestures for Cheng Yuan to sit on the stone bench, and they sit together, side by side, watching the bamboo. A breeze blows, carrying the scent of chrysanthemums from the garden. A bird chirps somewhere in the grove, short, sweet, then quiet. When I was your age, Master Dongshen says, I wanted to find something to not wine and I thought it was a thing, you see. A treasure hidden in a cave, or a secret word a master would whisper in your ear, or a feeling that would wash over you like a wave and never leave. I read all the sutras, stacked them up in my room until I could barely sleep. I meditated from dawn till dusk, my legs aching, my mind racing. I traveled to every famous monastery in the country, to Linji, to Yunmen. I asked every master I met, where is enlightenment? How do I find it? They gave me answers. Some shouted, some smiled, some gave me Tibetan I didn't understand. I thought they were hiding something. I thought I needed to go further, climb higher, look harder. He pauses, looking out at the lotus pond. The lotus flowers are gone. Now Hodam has taken them, but a few green leaves still float on the water, their edges curled. One winter, I was traveling through a small village in the north. A snowstorm hits a den, fierce. The wind howled. The snow fell so hard I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. I was cold, hungry, tired. I thought I might die. Then an old woman saw me huddling under a tree. She took me into her hutta, small, dark place with a dirt floor and a single window. She lit a fire in the hearth, and she poured me a cup of wine. It wasn't Shinfeng wine. It was cheap, made from wild grapes she'd picked in the woods. It was sour, a little bitter, and it burned my throat when I drank it. But she sat with me, and she talked about her chickens, about the weather, about her grandson who lived in the next village. She didn't talk about the Dharma. She didn't talk about enlightenment. She just was kind. Master Dongshan looks at Cheng Yuan, his eyes soft. When I drank that wine, I felt it warm my hands, first my fingers, which had been numb from the cold, then my chest, then my legs. I felt the fire on my face, the old woman's hand on my arm. She was checking if I was still cold. The quiet of the snow outside, and in that moment, I forgot about enlightenment. I forgot about the monasteries I'd visited, the masters I'd met, the sutras I'd read. I just was. I was warm. I was safe. I was happy. Not because of the wine, not really. Because of the moment. Because I was present. Because I stopped looking for something far away and started feeling what was right in front of me. Chen Yuan stares at Master Dongshan, his mouth slightly open. You mean the wine wasn't special? It was just the moment. Master Dongshan nods. The wine was just wine, but the moment that was the treasure I'd been looking for. I realized then the thing we chase, whether it's Shinfeng wine or enlightenment or happiness, it's not a thing. It's not something you can hold in a cup or find in a town or buy with money. It's a way of seeing. It's the ability to look at a cup of sour wine and feel grateful. To look at an old woman's hut and feel safe. To look at a snowstorm and feel alive. It's not it's in you. It's in the way you see the world when you stop looking for perfection and start seeing what's there. He points to the smudged map. The circle for Shinfeng is gone now. The village is a blur. The river is a faint line in the dirt. What if you walk 3 days, climb the steep mountain, cross the cold river, and when you get to Shinfeng, the wine is sold out? What if it's not as sweet as you thought? What if the tavern keeper is rude and the fire is out and you're just as cold and tired as you were when you left? Then what? Will you be disappointed? Will you start planning a trip to another town, another wine, another perfect thing? Cheng Yuan thinks about that. He imagines walking for days, his feet sore, his back aching, only to find that Shinfeng wine isn't what he hoped. He imagines the emptiness he'd feel, the same emptiness he feels sometimes when he reads a sutra and doesn't understand it, when he meditates and his mind wanders. He realizes he's been chasing a feeling, not a wine, a feeling of completion that he thinks can only come from something outside of himself. I don't know, Chen Yuan says, his voice soft. I never thought about that. Master Dongshan puts a hand on Cheng Yuan's shoulder. His hand is warm, rough from years of work, but gentle. You don't need to go to Shinfeng to find that feeling, he says. You can find it right here, right now. Look at the bamboo-sea, how it sways in the wind, not fighting it, just moving with it. That's peace. Smell the chrysanthemums. They're small, not as pretty as lotus flowers, but they smell sweet, don't they? That's joy. Listen to the birdit's song is short, not a grand melody, but it's real. That's life. The wine in Shinfeng is just a thing, but the longing for it, the desire to feel something deeply, it's your heart trying to tell you that you already have everything you need to be happy. You just need to stop looking outside and start looking inside. Cheng Yuan looks down at his hands. They're clean, young, strong, capable of planting seeds, of copying sutras, of holding a cup of tea. He looks up at the bamboo, swaying gently. He smells the chrysanthemums, sweet and faint. He hears the bird chirping again. For a moment, he doesn't feel the need to go anywhere. He doesn't feel the need to taste any wine. He just feels calm, like the bamboo, like the bird, like the moment. I think I understand, Chen Yuan says, slowly. The wine isn't the point. The looking is the point. But I don't have to look far. I can look here. Master Dongshan smiles. Yes, he says. And sometimes the thing you're looking for is already with you. You just need to open your eyes to see it. Come, let's go to the kitchen. Lao Wang, the cook, has a jar of plum wine he made last spring. It's not Qinfeng wine. It's tart, a little sweet, and it's been sitting in the corner of the kitchen for months. But it's warm, it's here, and it will be enough. Cheng Yuan stands up. He looks at the smudged map in the dirt now, little more than a patch of disturbed earth, and kicks a handful of dirt over it, covering it completely. I don't need the map anymore, he says, smiling. They walk to the kitchen together, their steps slow. The sun is lower now, casting long shadows across the courtyard. The bamboo grove is quieter, the bird having flown away. The scent of chrysanthemums fades as they get closer to the kitchen, replaced by the smell of simmering vegetable soup and fresh-baked bread. The cook is a round man with a red face and an apron stained with flour. He's stirring a pot of soup on the stove, humming a tune under his breath. When he sees Master Dongshan and Cheng Yuan, he grins, showing a gap between his front teeth. Chen Wang, what brings you to my kitchen? You here for soup? It's almost ready. Carrots, turnips, a little ginger, tastes like autumn. Actually, Lao Wang, Master Dongshan, says, we're here for that plum wine you've been hiding. Lao Wang laughs, a loud, booming sound that fills the kitchen. Ah, you found my secret. I was saving it for winter, but since you asked, he walks to a corner of the kitchen where a row of clay jars sits on a shelf. He picks up a small jar, its surface dusted with flour, and wipes it off with his apron. Here it is. Made it last spring when the plums were ripe. Tart but sweet, just like life, eh? He takes 2 small clay cups from a shelf and pours the wine into them. The liquid is a deep amber color, like honey. He hands 1 cup to Master Dongshan. Careful, it's still got a kick, he says, winking. Cheng Yuan takes the cup. It's warm in his hands. Lao Wang must have set the jar near the stove to warm it. He brings it to his lips and takes a small sip. It's tart, like biting into a ripe plum, then sweet, then warm, spreading through his chest. It's not Qinfeng wine. It's not perfect, but it's real. It's here. It's enough. This is good, Chen Yuan says, smiling. Master Dongshan takes a sip of his own wine. Yes, he says, it is. Not because it's the best wine in the world, but because we're here, drinking it together. That's the magic. Over the next few weeks, Chen Yuan stops talking about Qinfeng. Instead, he spends his days helping Lao Wang in the kitchen, peeling vegetables. The quiet of Linji's shout lingers, soft and warm, like the last glow of a campfire before it fades into embers. Let your breath sink even deeper now, slow and steady, like water seeping into soft earth. Your body is heavy, relaxed, and your mind is calm enough to drift to another mountain, another monastery, where the air smells of fermented grain and wild chrysanthemums. This is Dongshan Monastery, home to Master Dongshan Liangya. The mountains here are gentler, covered in bamboo that sways in the wind like green silk. The sound of a wooden flute drifts from somewhere in the monastery, slow, beautiful, mixing with the distant murmur of monks talking and the soft clink of bowls in the kitchen. Master Dongshan is a quiet man, with a gentle smile and hands that move slowly, as if he's always savoring each moment. His hair is gray at the temples, tied back with a plain blue ribbon, and his robe is made of soft, worn cotton. He doesn't shout like Master Linji, or work from dawn till dusk like Master Beige. Instead, he spends his days walking in the bamboo groves, sitting by the monastery's small pond, or talking to monks over cups of weak tea. But his words carry a weight, quiet, precise, like a stone dropped into still water, sending ripples of understanding through whoever hears them. One autumn afternoon, the sky is a soft, hazy blue, and the bamboo leaves are turning golden at the edges. A young monk named Cheng Yuan stands in the monastery's courtyard, staring at a map he's drawn in the dirt with a stick. The map shows a winding path dotted with little marks, a river, a forest, a small village, and at the end, a circle labeled Xinfeng. Cheng Yuan has been talking about Xinfeng for weeks, a town famous for its wine, a rich, sweet wine that's said to warm you from the inside out. Even on the coldest winter nights, he's never tasted it, but he's heard stories, how the grapes are grown on the slopes of nearby mountains, how the wine is aged in clay jars for years, how it's so rare that only the wealthiest merchants and most respected monks can get their hands on it. I'm going to find Xinfeng wine, Cheng Yuan says, more to himself than to anyone else. I've read about it in the old books. They say it's not just wine. It's a taste of happiness, of fulfillment. I need to try it. I need to see what all the fuss is about. Master Dongshan, who has been sitting on a stone bench nearby, watching the bamboo sway, stands up slowly. He walks over to Cheng Yuan, his steps soft, and looks down at the map in the dirt. Xinfeng is a long way from here, he says, his voice quiet like the rustle of leaves. The path is steep. There are rivers to cross, forests to navigate, villages where no one speaks your language. Are you sure you want to go? Cheng Yuan nods, his eyes bright with excitement. Yes, Master, it will be worth it. To taste that wine, to know what it's like to have something so special, so perfect. I think it will help me understand life better. Like the sutras, but in a glass. Master Dongshan smiles. He bends down and picks up a small stone, then drops it into the center of the circle, labeled Xinfeng. The dirt map smudges, the circle disappearing under a cloud of dust. What are you doing? Cheng Yuan says, reaching out to fix the map, his voice a little panicked. Tell me, Master Dongshan says, ignoring the question. What do you think you'll find in Xinfeng? Besides wine, Cheng Yuan pauses. He thinks about the stories about the warm taverns, the friendly villagers, the feeling of holding a cup of wine that's been made with care. I think I'll find satisfaction, he says, like I've been looking for something, and I'll finally find it, like the wine will fill a hole I didn't even know I had. Master Dongshan nods. He gestures for Cheng Yuan to sit on the stone bench, and they sit together, watching the bamboo. A breeze blows, carrying the scent of chrysanthemums from the garden nearby. When I was young, Master Dongshin says, I wanted to find something to not whine and learn. I read all the scriptures. I meditated for hours. I traveled to every famous monastery in the country, asking masters to teach me, to show me the way. I thought enlightenment was like a treasure hidden somewhere far away. I thought I had to climb the highest mountains, cross the widest rivers, find the wisest teachers to get it. I thought it was something outside of me, something I had to earn, or find, or buy. He pauses, looking out at the pond, where a few lotus leaves are still floating on the surface, even though it's autumn. One winter, I was traveling through a small village, and I got caught in a snowstorm. The wind was howling, the snow was falling so hard I could barely see. I thought I was going to freeze to death. Then, an old woman invited me into her hut. She had a small fire going, and she poured me a cup of wine, cheap wine, not shinfeng, just something she'd made herself from wild grapes. It was sour, a little bitter, nothing special. But when I drank it, I felt it warm my hands, my chest, my legs. I felt the fire on my face, the old woman's kind smile, the quiet of the snow outside. And in that moment, I forgot about enlightenment. I forgot about all the mountains I'd climbed, all the masters I'd met. I just was happy, content, like I'd found exactly what I'd been looking for. But it wasn't what I thought it would be. Cheng Yuan looks at Master Dongshin, his eyes wide. You mean the wine wasn't special? It was just the moment. Master Dongshin smiles. The wine was just wine. But the moment, that was special. I'd been looking for enlightenment in faraway places, in grand teachings, in perfect things. But it was right there, in a small hut, with a cup of sour wine and an old woman. I realized then, the thing we're looking for, whether it's shinfeng wine, or enlightenment, or happiness, it's not outside of us. It's not in a faraway town, or a fancy cup, or a perfect moment. It's inside us. It's the ability to see the beauty in the ordinary, to feel the warmth in a simple cup of wine, to be present in the moment we're in. He points to the dirt map, which is now almost completely smudged. You want to find shinfeng wine, but what if you go all that way, and it's not as good as the stories? What if it's too sweet, or too sour, or you can't even find it? Then what? Will you be disappointed? Will you start looking for another wine, another town, another thing to make you happy? Cheng Yuan thinks about that. He imagines walking for weeks, climbing mountains, crossing rivers, only to find that shinfeng wine isn't what he expected. He imagines the disappointment, the emptiness, the urge to keep looking. I don't know, he says, his voice soft. Master Dongshin puts a hand on Cheng Yuan's shoulder. You don't need to go to shinfeng to find what you're looking for, he says. You can find it right here. In the bamboo grove, in the cup of tea you'll drink tonight, in the sound of the flute you heard earlier. The wine in shinfeng is just a thing, but the longing for it, the desire to taste something special, to feel something deeply, that's your heart talking. It's your heart trying to tell you that you already have everything you need to be happy. You just need to stop looking outside and start looking inside. Cheng Yuan looks down at his hands. He thinks about the map in the dirt, about the stories of shinfeng wine, about the excitement he felt at the thought of going on a journey. But then he thinks about the bamboo swaying in the wind, about the warmth of the sun on his face, about the sound of Master Dongshan's quiet voice. He realizes that in this moment he feels calm. He feels content. He doesn't need to go anywhere or taste anything special to feel that way. I think I understand, Chenguan says, slowly. The wine isn't the point. The looking is the point. But the looking doesn't have to be for something far away. It can be for the good things right here. Master Dongshan nods. Yes, he says. And sometimes the thing you're looking for is already with you. You just need to open your eyes to see it. Let's go, he adds, standing up. The kitchen has a jar of plum wine. Nothing fancy, just something the cook made last spring. We can have a cup. It won't be Xinfeng, but it will be warm. It will be here. It will be enough. Chen Yuan stands up. He looks at the smudged map in the dirt, then kicks a little dirt over it, covering it completely. I don't need the map anymore, he says, smiling. They walk to the kitchen together, their steps slow, savoring the afternoon light. The kitchen is warm, filled with the smell of simmering vegetable soup and fresh-baked bread. The cook, a round, friendly man named Lao Wang, is stirring a pot on the stove. When he sees Master Dongshan and Cheng Yuan, he grins. Ah, Master, Chengwan, want a cup of plum wine? It's been aging for 6 months, tastes like summer, even in autumn. Yes, please, Master Dongshan says. Lao Wang takes 2 small clay cups from a shelf and pours a amber-colored liquid into each. He hands one to Master Dongshan, one to Cheng Yuan. Careful, it's still a little strong, he says, winking. Cheng Yuan takes the cup. It's warm in his hands, and the wine smells sweet, like ripe plums. He takes a small sip. It's sweet, with a hint of tartness, and it warms his chest, spreading out like a small fire. He closes his eyes for a moment, savoring the taste, the warmth, the sound of Lao Wang stirring the soup, the soft hum of Master Dongshan breathing beside him. It's perfect, Chengguan says. Opening his eyes, Master Dongshan smiles, taking a sip of his own wine. Yes, he says, it is. Not because it's the best wine in the world, but because it's here. Because we're here, together. That's the magic. Not in the wine, but in the moment. Over the next few weeks, Chengguan stops talking about Xinfeng. Instead, he spends his days noticing the small things, the way the bamboo leaves glow in the morning sun, the way the pond's water ripples when a fish jumps, the way Lao Wang's bread smells when it comes out of the oven. He still reads the scriptures, but he doesn't read them to find answers. He reads them to feel the words, to let them sink into his heart, to connect them to the world around him. He even starts helping Lao Wang make wine, plum wine, grape wine, even a simple rice wine, learning to crush the fruit, stir the mixture, wait for it to ferment. He doesn't do it to make the perfect wine. He does it to be present, to feel the juice on his hands, to smell the fermenting fruit, to wait patiently for something to grow. One day, a traveler comes to the monastery. He's a merchant, wearing fine silk clothes, carrying a leather bag filled with coins. He stops Chengguan in the courtyard and asks for directions to the kitchen. And he's thirsty. I'm on my way to Xinfeng, the merchant says, as Chengguan leads him to the kitchen. Heard they have the best wine in the country. I'm going to buy a few jars for my wife, for my friends, for myself. Nothing but the best for me. Chen Yuan smiles. Xinfeng wine is famous, he says. But have you tried the plum wine here? It's not famous, but it's good. Warm, sweet. It tastes like autumn, the merchant snorts. Plum wine, made by monks. I don't want ordinary wine. I want something special, something worth traveling for. Chen Yuan nods. He doesn't argue. He just leads the merchant to the kitchen, pours him a cup of tea, and goes back to his work in the garden. Later, he sees the merchant sitting alone in the courtyard, looking at his bag of coins, his face tight with worry. Chen Guan walks over and sits down beside him. Is something wrong? He asks. The merchant sighs. I've been traveling for months, he says, from town to town, buying and selling goods. I thought if I made enough money, if I bought the best things, Xinfeng wine, fine silk, expensive food, I'd be happy. But I'm not. I'm tired. I miss my wife. I miss my home. And now I'm worried. What if the Xinfeng wine isn't as good as everyone says? What if I spend all this money and I still feel empty? Chen Guan thinks about Master Dongshin's words, about the plum wine, about the moment in the kitchen. Can I show you something? He says. The merchant nods. The sun is setting, painting the leaves golden, and the air is cool with a hint of chrysanthemum. They stand there for a minute, watching the bamboo sway, listening to the wind. What am I looking at? The merchant says, confused. Nothing, Chen Yuan says. Just the bamboo, just the wind, just this moment. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to go anywhere. You just need to be here, to feel this. That's the happiness you're looking for. Not in Xinfeng wine, not in silk, not in coins. In the moment, in being alive. The merchant stares at Chen Yuan. Then, slowly, he smiles. He puts his bag of coins down on the ground, like it's a heavy weight he's been carrying for too long. He takes a deep breath, closing his eyes, and when he opens them, they're softer, less worried. I feel it, he says. The wind, the bamboo, the quiet. I haven't felt this calm in years. Thank you. That night, the merchant stays at the monastery. He drinks a cup of plum wine with Chen Guan and Master Dongshin, and he laughs more than he has in months. The next morning, he doesn't go to Xinfeng. Instead, he packs his bags and heads home to his wife, to his small house, to the ordinary moments he'd forgotten about. Before he leaves, he gives Chen Guan a small clay jar. It's a jar of Xinfeng wine, he says. I bought it in the last town. I was going to keep it for myself, but you don't need it, and I don't need it anymore. But maybe you can share it with the other monks, to remind them that the best things in life aren't the ones we travel far to find. Chen Yuan takes the jar. He thanks the merchant and watches him. The warmth of that full moon night lingers. Let it stay with you, soft as the glow of the paper lanterns, steady as the monk's quiet clink of cups. Your breath is slow now, your body heavy with the kind of relaxation that comes from letting go of more chasing, more wanting, more needing. Let that feeling settle deeper, like sunlight sinking into soil. As we drift to another monastery, another master in the same Tang dynasty. This is Gangxi Monastery, where Master Mazu Daoyi lives. The air here is thick with the smell of rice cooking in the kitchen and jasmine blooming in the garden. The sounds are familiar, everyday sounds. A monk laughing as he carries a bucket of water. A rooster crowing in the distance, the soft thud of a broom on on stone. Nothing grand, nothing fancy, just life unfolding gently. Moment by moment, Master Mazu is not like the other masters we've met. He doesn't shout like Linji, or speak in quiet riddles like Yunmen, or work from dawn till dusk like Bei. He's a man of the everyday. He wears a simple robe, no different from the monks' robes, and he spends his days doing the same things they do, eating breakfast at dawn, sweeping the courtyard after prayer, sitting by the garden to drink tea in the afternoon. He doesn't have a grand lecture hall or a fancy meditation room. Most of his teaching happens in the kitchen, or the garden, or while walking to the Wells Mall. Unplanned moments where he points out the truth in the ordinary, like a farmer pointing out a ripe peach on a tree. One morning, the sun is just peeking over the monastery walls, painting the sky in soft pinks and oranges. A young monk named Weigen stands in the courtyard, staring at a stone statue of the Buddha. Weigen is new to the monastery. He arrived only a month ago, after traveling for years to find a master who could teach him the Tao. He's read all the old books, which talk about the Tao as something grand and mysterious, a force that flows through the universe, a truth that only the wisest can understand, a path that requires years of strict meditation and self-denial. But since he arrived at Gengshi Monastery, he hasn't heard Master Mazu say a single word about the Tao or enlightenment or strict practice. All he's seen is Master Mazu eating rice, sweeping floors, and drinking tea like any ordinary monk. Weigen is confused. He thought he'd found a great master, but Master Mazu seems ordinary, like the farmers he saw on the road, or the merchants in the villages. He stands there, staring at the Buddha statue, wondering if he made a mistake. Did he come to the wrong monastery? Is Master Mazu not as wise as everyone says? "Good morning, Weigen," a voice says. Weigen turns around to see Master Mazu walking toward him, carrying a small basket of vegetables, carrots, cabbages, a few radishes from the monastery garden. His hands are dirty with soil, and there's a leaf stuck in his hair, but he's smiling, like he doesn't have a care in the world. "Good morning, Master," Weigen says, bowing quickly. He hesitates, then adds, "Master, may I ask you something?" Master Mazu sets the basket of vegetables down on a nearby stone bench and wipes his hands on his robe. "Of course, ask away." Weigen takes a deep breath. "I've been here a month now, Master. I came to learn about the Tao, to find enlightenment, but all I've seen you do is eat, sleep, sweep floors, and tend to the garden. You never talk about the Tao, or meditation, or the scriptures. I don't understand. Where is the Tao? How do I find it?" Master Mazu looks at Weigen, his eyes soft but clear, like he's seeing the worry in Weizen's heart. He picks up a carrot from the basket and holds it out to Weigen. "What is this?" he asks. Weizen blinks. "It's a carrot, Master." "Is it part of the Tao?" Master Mazu asks. Weigen frowns. "A carrot? No, Master. The Tao is grand. It's universal. A carrot is just a vegetable. It's ordinary." Master Mazu smiles. He takes a bite of the carrot, crunching it slowly. "This carrot grew in our garden. We planted the seed, watered it, pulled the weeds. Now it's ripe, and we'll cook it for lunch. It feeds us, keeps us strong, so we can do our work, so we can sit and breathe and be. Is that not part of the Tao? Is the Tao not in the seed, The water, the soil, the carrot, the eating. Where else would it be? Huygen stares at the carrot in Master Mazu's hand. He thinks about the books he's read, which talk about the Tao as something far away, something abstract. But Master Mazu is talking about a carrot, something you can hold, something you can eat, something ordinary. It doesn't make sense, but Master Huygen says, the books say the Tao is beyond ordinary things, that you have to transcend the everyday to find it, that you have to meditate for hours, give up all your desires, become something more than ordinary. Master Mazu shakes his head. He puts the carrot back in the basket and picks up a small stone from the ground. He holds it up to the light, where it glints softly. What is this? He asks. A stone, Master. Is it part of the Tao? Huygen hesitates. I don't know. Can you transcend this stone? Master Mazu asks. Can you make it not a stone? Can you make it not part of the world? Or is it just a stone here, now, part of everything else? The Tao is not beyond the ordinary, Huygen. It is the ordinary. It is the carrot, the stone, the sweeping of the floor, the drinking of tea. It is the breath you take, the sun on your face, the sound of a monk laughing. You don't have to transcend the everyday to find the Tao. You have to be in the everyday. You have to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. Huygen thinks about that. He thinks about the carrot, how it grew from a tiny seed, how it needed sun and water and care, how it would soon be part of their lunch. He thinks about the stone, how it's been in the courtyard for years, how monks have stepped over it, how it glints in the sun. He thinks about his own breath, how it's been with him every moment, but he's never really noticed it. These things are ordinary, yes, but are they not also part of something bigger? Part of the flow of life, the same flow that the books call the Tao. I'm not sure I understand, Huygen says quietly. Master Mazu claps him on the shoulder. Come, he says. Let's go to the kitchen. We'll peel these carrots together. Maybe you'll understand while we work. They walk to the kitchen together, the basket of vegetables between them. The kitchen is warm, with a big stone stove in the center. Lao Li, the cook, is stirring a pot of rice on the stove, humming a tune. When he sees them, he grins. Ah, Master Mazu Huygen, just in time. These carrots need peeling. Lunch will be ready in an hour. Master Mazu sets the basket on the wooden table and takes out a small knife. He picks up a carrot and starts peeling it, his hands moving slowly, carefully. The peel falls in thin, curly strips onto the table. Watch, he says to Huygen. Don't rush. Feel the carrot in your hand. Notice how it's firm, how the skin comes off easily. Smell it fresh, earthy. This is the Tao, not in a book, not in a meditation hall, but here, in your hands, in the carrot, in the peeling. Huygen takes a carrot and a knife. He starts peeling, but he's in a hurry. He wants to finish quickly, to prove he's doing it right. The peel breaks, the carrot slips in his hand, and he cuts his finger a little. A tiny drop of blood appears. Slow down, Master Mazu says, noticing. He takes a clean cloth from his robe and hands it to Huygen. Don't think about finishing. Think about the peeling. Think about the carrot. Think about your hands, your knife, the moment. That's where the Tao is, in the slowing down, in the noticing, in the being present. Huygen nods. He takes a deep breath and starts peeling again, slower this time. He feels the carrot's firmness under his fingers, the smoothness of the skin as he peels it, the earthy smell rising to his nose. He listens to Lao Li's humming, to the rice bubbling in the pot, to Master Mazu's quiet breathing. He doesn't think about the Tao, or enlightenment, or the books he's read. He just thinks about peeling the carrot, and for a moment, he feels calm in a way he's never felt before. Like he's part of something, not separate from it. Like he's found a piece of the puzzle he didn't know he was missing. "This is it, isn't it?" Weigand says, softly. Master Mazu smiles. "Yes," he says. "This is it. The Tao is in the ordinary mind, the mind that's not rushing, not worrying, not trying to find something else. It's in the mind that's just peeling a carrot, just breathing, just being here. You don't have to be special to find it. You just have to be ordinary. You just have to be you." Over the next few weeks, Weigand starts to practice the ordinary mind. He doesn't spend hours meditating in the hall instead. He meditates while he sweeps the courtyard, noticing the way the broom moves, the way the dust rises, the way the sun shines on the stones. He doesn't read the scriptures for hours instead. He reads a few lines while he drinks his morning tea, letting the words sink in slowly, connecting them to the carrot he peeled that morning, the stone he stepped over in the courtyard. He doesn't try to be wise or enlightened. Instead, he tries to be present, to notice the small things, to be ordinary. One afternoon, Weigand is sitting in the garden, drinking tea. Master Mazu joins him, carrying a small plate of walnuts. He puts the plate between them and starts cracking a walnut, his fingers moving deftly. "Tell me, Weigand," Master Mazu says, "what do you think of the Tao now?" Weigand looks at the walnut in Master Mazu's hand, the hard shell. The way Master Mazu cracks it open to reveal the soft, sweet kernel inside. He thinks about the tea in his cup, the warmth of it. He thinks about the jasmine flowers in the garden, the way they smell, the way they sway in the wind, the way a bee lands on one to collect nectar. "The Tao is here," Weigand says, gesturing to the tea, the walnuts, the jasmine. "It's in the cracking of a walnut, the drinking of tea, the smell of flowers. It's in the ordinary mind, the mind that doesn't need to look for more because it already has enough. It's in being present, in being ordinary, in being alive." Master Mazu nods, handing Weigand a cracked walnut. "You found it," he says. "Not because you read a book, or meditated for hours, or did anything special, because you stopped trying to be special. You started being ordinary. That's the secret of the Tao. It's not hidden. It's right here, in the everyday, in the ordinary mind." As the weeks turn into months, Weigand becomes known among the monks for his calmness, his presence, his ability to find joy in the ordinary. When a new novice monk arrives, worried about finding the Tao, Weigand doesn't give him a lecture or a book. He hands him a broom and says, "Sweep the courtyard. Notice the way the broom moves. Notice the dust. Notice the sun. That's the Tao." When a monk is upset because his meditation isn't working, Weigand invites him to drink tea and says, "Taste the tea. Feel its warmth. That's the Tao right here, right now. No need to meditate for hours to find it." One day, Master Mazu is sitting in the garden, watching the monks work. Weigand joins him, carrying 2 cups of tea. He hands one to Master Mazu, and they sit in silence for a while, watching a butterfly flutter from jasmine flower to jasmine flower. Master Weigand says, "Finally, what if I forget?" What if I start chasing the Tao again? Start trying to be special. Start missing the ordinary. Master Mazu takes a sip of tea. He points to the butterfly. When you forget, look at the butterfly, he says. It doesn't try to be special. It just flies, just lands on flowers, just is. It doesn't worry about the Tao or enlightenment or being ordinary. It just lives. You can do the same. When you forget, look at the butterfly. Look at your tea. Look at your hands. Remember, the Tao is in the ordinary mind. It's always there, waiting for you to notice it. Weigan nods. He looks at the butterfly, fluttering gently, and smiles. He takes a sip of tea, savoring its warmth, its taste, its presence. He feels the sun on his face, the wind in his hair, the quiet of the garden. He doesn't need to chase anything. He doesn't need to be special. He just needs this, the tea, the butterfly, the sun, the moment. This is the Tao. This is the ordinary mind. This is enough. Years later, when Master Mazu passes away, Weijin continues to teach the monks of Jiangxi Monastery about the Tao in the ordinary mind. He doesn't give grand lectures or write books. He teaches them while peeling carrots, while sweeping the courtyard, while drinking tea. He tells them, the Tao is not something you find, it's something you live. It's in the everyday, in the ordinary, in the moments you almost miss. You don't need to be wise or special or perfect. You just need to be present. You just need to be ordinary. And the monks learn. They learn to find joy in peeling carrots, in sweeping floors, in drinking tea. They learn to see the Tao in the ordinary, to find enlightenment in the everyday. They learn that the most extraordinary thing in the world is not something grand or mysterious, it's the ordinary, lived fully, with presence, with care, with love, as you lie here now. Let that truth wrap around you like a warm blanket. You don't need to be special. You don't need to do anything grand. You don't need to chase the Tao or enlightenment or happiness. It's already here, in the ordinary, in the way your blanket feels against your skin, in the sound of your breath, in the quiet of the night. It's in your ordinary mind, the mind that doesn't rush, doesn't worry, doesn't try to find something else. It's in the mind that's just here, just now, just being you. Breathe in slowly and notice the ordinary, your breath, your body, the quiet. Breathe out and let go of any desire to be more than you are. You are enough. You are ordinary. You are the Tao. Let your eyes stay closed, your body relax, and let the memory of Master Mazu's carrot, Wishen's tea, and the butterfly in the garden stay with you. These are the things that matter, the ordinary things, the everyday things, the things that make life beautiful. Let your mind drift now, like the butterfly in the garden, slow and gentle. There is no hurry, no worry, no need to be special. There is just this you in this moment, ordinary and perfect, just as you are. The quiet of Master Mazu's garden lingers. Let it wrap around you like a soft shawl, light but warm, as the memory of jasmine and tea settles in your bones. Your breath is still slow, your body heavy with the calm of ordinary moment. And now, let's drift to a colder season, a different mountain, where the air bites with winter chill and snow dusts the rooftops of the monastery. This is Tianmen Monastery, a small, quiet place tucked into the side of a mountain where Master Dengsha Tianran lives. Dengsha is not like the masters we've met before. He wears his robe loosely. His hair is often unkempt, and he moves with a kind of playful freedom, like a child exploring a forest. He doesn't follow the strict rules of other monasteries, and he doesn't care much for formalities. But his eyes bright, clear, and full of laughter hold a wisdom that comes from seeing beyond the surface of things. It's a bitter winter morning. The sky is a pale, frosty blue, and snow covers everything: the stone paths, the bamboo groves, the roof of the meditation hall. The monks huddle in their robes, their breath forming small clouds in the cold air as they hurry to the kitchen for warm porridge. Inside the monastery, the rooms are cold to only the kitchen has a fire, and even that is small, barely enough to keep the cook's hands from shaking as he stirs the pot. Dangxia is sitting in the corner of the meditation hall, his back against a stone wall. He's wrapped in a thin robe, and his teeth are chattering slightly. The meditation hall is empty, except for him and a few wooden Buddha statues, simple carved figures placed on small shelves along the walls. The statues are old, they're paint-chipped, their wood worn smooth by years of monks' hands touching them in prayer. To most of the monks, these statues are sacred representations of the Buddha's wisdom and compassion, objects to be revered, not touched unless in prayer. A young monk named Himing walks into the hall, carrying a small bundle of firewood. He's on his way to the kitchen, but he stops when he sees Dangsha shivering. "Master Dangxia," he says, hurrying over, "why are you sitting here? It's freezing. The kitchen has a fire. Come warm up with us." Dangsha looks up at Himing, his eyes crinkling with a smile. "I'm waiting for the warmth to come to me," he says, his voice quiet but playful. Himing frowns. "The warmth won't come here, master. The only fire is in the kitchen, and we don't have much firewood left. We used most of it last night. The mountain paths are covered in snow, so we can't cut more until the storm passes." Dangsha nods, looking round the hall. His gaze stops on one of the wooden Buddha statues, the largest one, standing almost as tall as a man, carved from a single piece of oak. He stands up slowly, his joints creaking in the cold, and walks over to the statue. He runs his hand along its smooth wood, then turns to Himing. "This statue is made of wood, isn't it?" he says. Himing nods, confused. "Yes, master. It's oak. It's been here for decades. All the monks pray to it. It's sacred." Dangsha smiles. "Sacred wood is still wood, isn't it?" he says. Before Himing can react, Dangsha wraps his arms around the statue and starts to lift it. The statue is heavy, but Dangsha's arms are strong. He's spent years carrying firewood and water, working with his hands. "Master, what are you doing?" Himing says, stepping forward, his voice urgent. "That's a Buddha statue. You can't move it, let alone do anything else with it." Dangsha sets the statue down gently on the stone floor. He looks at Himing, his eyes soft but clear. "Himing, are you cold?" he asks. Himing nods, his teeth chattering. "Yes, master. But that's no reason to." "Is the statue cold?" Dangsha asks, cutting him off. Himing blinks. "The statue is wood, master. It doesn't feel cold. It doesn't feel anything." Dangsha nods. "Then why are we letting it sit here, doing nothing, while we shiver?" he says. He bends down and picks up the statue again, this time carrying it toward the center of the hall. There's a small, empty fire pit there used in the summer for incense, but now cold and empty. Dangsha sets the statue in the pit, then looks at Himing, who is staring at him with his mouth open. "Master Dangsha, you can't burn the Buddha statue," Himing says, his voice rising. "It's sacred. It's a symbol of the Buddha. Burning it is. It's disrespectful. It's wrong." Dangsha sits down next to the fire pit, crossing his legs. He looks up at Himing, his smile fading a little, but his eyes still kind. "Tell me, Himing," he says, "what is the Buddha?" Himing blinks, confused by the question. "The Buddha is the one who attained enlightenment," he says. "He taught us the Dharma, the path to peace. The statue is a representation of him, so we can remember his teachings, feel his presence." Dangsha nods. "And where is the Buddha's presence?" he asks. "Is it in the wood of the statue? Is it in the paint that's chipped? Is it in the way we bow to it? Or is it in the compassion we show to each other? In the warmth we share when we're cold? In the way we help each other through the storm?" Himing hesitates. He thinks about the statue, cold, wooden, unfeeling. He thinks about Dangsha shivering in the corner. He thinks about the other monks huddled in the kitchen, their hands cold, their bellies empty. He thinks about the Buddha's teachings about kindness, about letting go of attachments, about seeing the truth beyond form. But the statue is sacred. It's a symbol. "You don't burn symbols." I don't know, Master," he says, his voice soft. "But the statue is sacred. We can't burn it." Dangsha stands up. He walks over to Himing and puts a hand on his shoulder. "Himing, the sacredness isn't in the wood," he says. "It's in what the wood represents. The Buddha taught us to let go of attachments to forms, to ideas, to things we think are sacred. He taught us that the truth is not in a statue or a book or a temple. It's in our hearts. It's in the way we live. If we let a wooden statue stand between us, and warmth between us, and comfort between us and each other, then we've missed the point. We've become attached to the form, not the meaning." He turns back to the statue, still sitting in the fire pit. "This wood can warm us," he says. "It can keep us from shivering. It can help us get through the cold until the storm passes. Is that not what the Buddha would want? For us to take care of each other, to use what we have to ease suffering even, if that what is a statue." Himing stares at the statue. He thinks about the cold, about the way his fingers feel numb, about the way the other monks' faces are pale from the chill. He thinks about the Buddha's life, about how he gave up his palace, his wealth, his family, to help others, about how he ate what people gave him, slept where he could, and taught anyone who would listen, no matter how rich or poor, how high or low. The Buddha didn't care about statues or temples. He cared about people. He cared about easing suffering. Slowly, Himing nods. He sets down his bundle of firewood and walks over to the fire pit. He takes a small knife from his robe and starts to chip pieces off the statues, small, thin pieces of oak, dry and ready to burn. "Let's build the fire," he says, his voice quiet but steady. Dangsha smiles. He helps Himing chip the wood, then takes a flint from his pocket and strikes it, creating a small spark. The spark catches on a piece of dry moss, and soon there's a small flame. They add the oak chips, one by one, and the flame grows warm, bright, pushing back the cold. The hall starts to warm up, the stone walls absorbing the heat, the air feeling less sharp. A few minutes later, other monks start to drift into the hall, drawn by the warmth, by the glow of the fire. At first, they're confused. They see the fire pit, the pieces of oak wood, the empty shelf where the Buddha statue used to be. Then they see Dangsha and Himing sitting by the fire, their hands warm, their faces relaxed. Master Dangsha, where is the Buddha statue? One monk asks, his voice worried. Dangsha gestures to the fire. It's keeping us warm, he says. The monk's eyes widen. You burned the Buddha statue, he says, his voice shocked. But it's sacred. Himing stands up. He looks at the monk, his eyes clear. The sacredness isn't in the wood, he says, repeating Dangsha's words. It's in what it represents. The Buddha would want us to be warm, to take care of each other. That's the true Dharma. The monk hesitates, then looks at the fire. He feels its warmth on his face, feels the cold leaving his hands. He thinks about the Buddha's teachings, about letting go of attachments. Slowly, he sits down by the fire, his shoulders relaxing. You're right, he says. I was attached to the form, not the meaning. One by one, the other monks sit down by the fire. They share stories, they laugh, they pass around a cup of warm tea that someone brought from the kitchen. The fire crackles, the oak wood burning, slowly releasing its warmth. The hall is no longer cold, it's warm, it's bright, it's full of life. Later that afternoon, the snow stops. The sun comes out, casting a soft glow over the snow-covered mountain. Dangsha and Himing walk outside, their boots crunching in the snow, to collect more firewood. The air is still cold, but the sun is warm on their faces. Master Himing says, "Do you think the other monks will understand about the statue?" Dangsha nods. "They'll understand in time," he says. "They just need to remember that the Buddha isn't in a statue. He's in the way we help each other, in the warmth we share, in the love we show. That's the true Buddha. That's the true Dharma." Himing picks up a piece of firewood, brushing the snow off it. He thinks about the fire in the hall, about the monks laughing, about the warmth that came from burning a wooden statue. He thinks about how he used to see the statue as sacred, something to be revered, something separate from everyday life. But now he sees it differently. The statue was just wood, but the warmth it provided, the way it brought the monks together, the lesson it taught, those are sacred. Those are the things that matter. "I think I understand now," Himing says, smiling. "The truth is beyond form. It's in the heart. It's in the way we live." Dangsha claps him on the back. "Yes," he says, "that's it. Now, let's collect this firewood. We'll need it. Tonight, it's going to get cold again." They walk back to the monastery, carrying their bundles of firewood, their boots crunching in the snow. The sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. The monastery looks warm and inviting, the light from the meditation hall's fire glowing through the windows. Inside, the monks are preparing dinner: warm vegetable soup, fresh-baked bread, a cup of warm wine. The fire is still burning, the oak wood still releasing its warmth. The empty shelf where the Buddha statue used to be is now holding a small bowl of flowers, wild flowers that someone picked from the mountain, their petals still covered in snow. That night, as the monks sit around the fire, eating their dinner, Dangsha tells them a story. He tells them about the Buddha, about how he lived a simple life, about how he taught people to let go of attachments, to see the truth beyond form. He tells them that the Buddha isn't in statues or temples or books. He's in the way they share their soup, in the way they laugh together, in the way they keep each other warm on a cold winter night. The statue was just wood, Dangsha says, looking around at the monks. But the love we share, that's eternal. That's the Buddha's true teaching. That's the Dharma. The monks nod. They understand now. They don't need a statue to remember the Buddha. They just need to remember to love each other, to help each other, to let go of attachments and see the truth beyond form. Years later, when Dangsha passes away, the monks of Tianmen Monastery don't replace the wooden Buddha statue. Instead, they keep the small bowl of flowers on the shelf, changing them with the seasons, putting fresh ones there every week. They tell new monks the story of Dongxia burning the Buddha statue for warmth, of the lesson he taught them, that the sacred isn't in things, but in the way we live. They keep a fire in the meditation hall every winter, not just for warmth, but as a reminder of Dangsha's wisdom, of letting go of attachments, of seeing beyond form, of loving each other as you lie here now. Let that lesson sink into your heart. You don't need to attach yourself to things, to ideas, to forms, to what you think is sacred or right. The truth is beyond form. It's in your heart. It's in the way you love, the way you help, the way you share warmth on a cold day. It's in the ordinary moments, the way you smile at a stranger, the way you hold a friend's hand, the way you savor a cup of warm tea. These are the sacred things. These are the things that matter. Breathe in slowly and let go of any attachments, any ideas of what you should be, any things you think you need to have, any forms you think you must follow. Breathe out and feel the freedom of letting go. You are not your attachments. You are not your forms. You are love. You are warmth. You are truth. Let your body grow heavier, your mind lighter. Let the memory of Dangsha's fire, of the monks laughing, of the bowl of flowers on the shelf stay with you. These are the things that matter, the love we share, the warmth we give, the truth we live. Let your eyes stay closed, your breath slow. Let the world outside fade, and let the quiet. There is no need to hold on to anything. There is just this you in this moment, free, warm, and full of love. And that is enough. The warmth of Dangsha's fire lingers, still soft, steady, like a memory of sunlight on snow, and let that warmth stay with you as we turn to a new season, a new monastery where spring has painted the world in soft greens and pale pinks. This is Qingliang Monastery, nestled in a valley where cherry blossoms fall like snowflakes and a small river babbles through the grounds. Here lives Master Feian Wenyu, a man with a quiet demeanor, his face smooth and calm as a still lake. He speaks little, but when he does, his words are like pebbles dropped into that lake, small, but sending ripples of thought that reach every corner of the mind. Unlike Dangsha's playful rebellion or Lingi's sharp shout, Feian teaches with silence and simplicity, often answering questions with a phrase that seems to say nothing at all. I don't know. It's a soft spring morning. The cherry blossoms are in full bloom, their petals drifting down to cover the stone paths like a pink carpet. The monks are scattered around the monastery. Some are meditating under the cherry trees, their eyes closed, their breath in time with the river's flow. Others are tending to the vegetable garden, planting seeds in the soft, rich soil. A few are copying scriptures in the library, their brushes moving slowly across the paper. Among them is a young monk named Zhiwan. Zhiwan is bright, eager, and full of questions. He's read more scriptures than most monks, twice his age, and he can recite long passages from memory. He prides himself on his knowledge, on being able to explain the difference between emptiness and form, on understanding the subtle nuances of the Dharma, on knowing the answers to even the most difficult questions. To Jiwan, wisdom is in knowing to know the scriptures, to know the teachings, to know the path to enlightenment. So when he hears that Master Phaon often answers questions with "I don't know," he is confused. How can a master, someone supposed to be wise, say "I don't know"? That's not wisdom, Jiwan thinks. That's ignorance. Jiwan decides to find Phaon and ask him. He walks through the monastery, past the cherry trees, past the garden, past the river, until he finds Phaon sitting on a stone bench by the river, watching the water flow. Phaon is holding a small branch, dipping the tip into the water and making tiny circles in the current. His face is calm, his eyes soft, like he's seeing something no one else can. "Master Phaon," Jiwan says, bowing deeply. Phaon looks up, his eyes crinkling into a small smile. "Jiwan," he says, "what brings you here on such a lovely morning?" Jiwan takes a deep breath, trying to keep his voice steady. "Master, I've heard that when monks ask you questions about the Dharma, about enlightenment, about the nature of the mind, you often say, 'I don't know, I don't understand.' You are a master. You have studied the Dharma for decades. You should know the answers. Why do you say, 'I don't know'?" Phaon dips the branch into the river again, making another circle. The current carries the circle away, stretching it until it fades into the water. "Tell me, Jiwan," Phaon says, not looking up from the river. "What do you know?" Jiwan straightens his back, proud to list his knowledge. "I know the Diamond Sutra by heart, Master. I know that all conditioned things are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows. I know that the mind is like a mirror, and we must wipe away the dust of attachments to see its true nature. I know that enlightenment is the realization of no self, of the interconnectedness of all things. I know these things, Master. I have studied them, memorized them, meditated on them." Phaon nods, still watching the river. "And do you know the sound of the river?" he asks. Jiwan blinks. "The sound of the river? It's the sound of water flowing, Master. Everyone knows that." Phaon smiles. "Do you know how it feels to have a cherry blossom petal land on your shoulder?" Jiwan pauses. "It's light, Master, soft, like a feather." "Do you know the taste of the porridge we had for breakfast this morning?" Phaon asks. "Of course, Master. It was made with rice and carrots. It was warm, a little sweet from the carrots." Phaon finally looks up from the river, his eyes meeting Jiwan's. "You know the words about the mind being a mirror," he says, "but do you know your own mind right now, in this moment? You know the words about no self, but do you know the self that is breathing, that is standing here, that is listening to the river? You know the scriptures, but do you know the world that is right in front of you, the cherry blossoms, the river, the warmth of the sun on your face?" Jiwan is silent. He thinks about the scriptures he's memorized, about the answers he's given to other monks, about the knowledge he's so proud of. But when Phaon asks if he knows his own mind right now, in this moment, he has no answer. He knows the words about the mind, but he doesn't know the mind itself. He knows the words about the world, but he doesn't know the world itself. He knows the answers, but he doesn't know the questions that matter. I don't know, Shiwen says, his voice soft, almost embarrassed. Feion's smile widens. There, he says. You see, I don't know is not ignorance. It's the beginning of wisdom. When you say I know, you close your mind. You think you have the answer, so you stop looking. You stop seeing. But when you say I don't know, you open your mind. You become curious. You start to look. You start to see the river, the cherry blossoms, your own mind-all, the things that words can't explain, all the things that can only be known by being present. Shiwen sits down on the bench next to Feion. He looks at the river, watching the water flow over smooth stones. A cherry blossom petal drifts down and lands on his shoulder. He feels its softness, its lightness. He hears the river's sound, the gentle gurgle of water over rocks, the occasional splash of a fish jumping. He feels the sun on his face, warm and gentle. For a moment, he forgets about the scriptures, about the teachings, about knowing. He just is. He is sitting by the river with a cherry blossom on his shoulder, listening to the water flow. And in that moment, he feels a kind of knowing that isn't in any book, a knowing that comes from being present, from seeing, from not pretending to have all the answers. But Master Shiwen says, after a while, if we say I don't know to everything, how will we ever learn? How will we ever reach enlightenment? Feion dips the branch into the river again, making a small circle. Enlightenment isn't about knowing all the answers, he says. It's about letting go of the need to know. It's about being okay with not knowing. The river doesn't know where it's going. It just flows. The cherry blossoms don't know why they fall. They just bloom and then drift away. The sun doesn't know why it rises. It just shines. And yet, they are all part of the Dharma. You don't need to know why the river flows to appreciate its beauty. You don't need to know why the cherry blossoms fall to feel their softness. You just need to be here, to see, to feel. That's the wisdom of I don't know. It frees you from the weight of knowing, from the pressure to have answers, and lets you just be. Shiwen thinks about that. He thinks about how often he's felt pressured to have answers, to know the right thing to say, to understand the teachings perfectly, to be the wise monk that others look up to. He thinks about how that pressure has made him tense, made him overthink, made him miss the beauty of the world around him. He thinks about the river flowing without knowing where it's going, and how peaceful that seems. I think I see, Shiwen says, softly. I don't know isn't about not being wise. It's about being humble, about admitting that there's more to the world than what we can know with our minds, about opening ourselves up to the mystery of it all. Feion nods. Yes, he says. Mystery is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. The Dharma is not a set of answers. It's an invitation to wonder at the river, at the cherry blossoms, at your own mind. When you say, I don't know, you're accepting that invitation. You're saying, I am here, I am curious, I am open, and that is where wisdom lives. Over the next few weeks, Shiwen starts to practice saying, I don't know. When another monk asks him a difficult question about the scriptures, instead of trying to come up with an answer, he says, I don't know. Let's go ask Master Feion, or better yet, let's go sit by the river and think about it. When he finds himself overthinking a meditation session, worrying if he's doing it right, if he's getting closer to enlightenment, he stops and says, I don't know. I just know I'm here, breathing, sitting. When he sees a cherry blossom fall and finds himself wondering why it has to die, he smiles and says, I don't know, but it's beautiful while it lasts. Slowly, Shoan starts to change. He's less tense, less focused on being right, less concerned with knowing everything. He spends more time sitting by the river, watching the water flow, and less time in the library, reading scriptures. He notices the way the cherry blossoms change color as they fall, the way the river's sound changes with the current, the way the sun's light shifts through the trees. He starts to know the world, not through words, but through experience, not through his mind, but through his heart. One afternoon, Shiwan is sitting by the river with Feon. The cherry blossoms are starting to fade, their petals falling less frequently, but the river still flows, and the sun still shines. Master Jiwan says, I used to think that wisdom was in knowing. Now I think it's in not knowing. But what if someone asks me a question that I really should know the answer to, like how to help a monk who is sad, or how to explain a basic teaching to a novice? Can I still say I don't know then? Feon looks at Jiwan, his eyes soft. I don't know isn't an excuse to be lazy, he says. It's not a way to avoid helping others. It's a way to be honest. If you don't know how to help a sad monk, say I don't know, but let's sit with you and listen. If you don't know how to explain a teaching, say I don't know, but let's read the scripture together and talk about it. I don't know doesn't mean you can't help. It means you're willing to help without pretending to have all the answers. It means you're willing to walk with someone instead of leading them. Shiwan nods. He thinks about a novice monk who came to him last week, upset because he couldn't meditate without his mind wandering. Shiwan didn't know the right answer. He still struggled with wandering thoughts himself, so he said, I don't know how to stop your mind from wandering, but I know mine wanders too. Let's sit together and just notice it when it does. They sat together for an hour, and by the end, the novice was smiling. He didn't stop his mind from wandering, but he stopped being upset about it. That, Jiwan realizes, was more helpful than any answer he could have given. I understand, Jiwan says. I don't know is about being honest, about being present, about being human. Feon smiles. Yes, he says. To be human is to not know, to wonder, to be curious. The masters who came before me, they didn't know everything. They just knew how to be present, how to be open, how to say, I don't know, with humility. That's the wisdom they passed on. That's the wisdom I pass on to you. As the spring turns to summer, the cherry blossoms are replaced by green leaves, and the river swells with rainwater. Shiwan continues to practice I don't know, and he becomes a source of comfort for the other monks. When they are confused, he says, I don't know, but let's figure it out together. When they are scared, he says, I don't know what will happen, but I'm here with you. When they are proud of their knowledge, he says, I used to think knowing was everything too. But look at the river, it doesn't know anything, and it's perfect. Years later, when Feon passes away, Jiwan becomes the master of Qingliang Monastery. He doesn't give grand lectures or write books. He sits by the river, watching the water flow, and answers questions with, I don't know. He teaches the monks to be humble, to be curious, to be present. He tells them the story of how he once thought wisdom was in knowing, and how Feon taught him that wisdom is in not knowing. He tells them to look at the river, at the trees, at the sky, and to say, "I don't know," with wonder, not fear. And the monks learn. They learn to let go of the need to know, to embrace the mystery of life, to be present in each moment. They learn that wisdom isn't in the answers, in the "I don't know" that opens the heart to the world. As you lie here now, let the wisdom of "I don't know" wrap around you like a soft cloud. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to understand why things happen the way they do. It's okay to say, "I don't know." Okay to wonder. Okay to be curious. Okay to be human. The river doesn't know where it's going, and it's still perfect. The cherry blossoms don't know why they fall, and they're still beautiful. You don't need to know, and you're still perfect. Breathe in slowly and let go of the pressure to know. Breathe out and embrace the mystery of the moment. You are here. You are breathing. You are alive, and that is enough. You don't need to know anything more. Let your body grow heavier, your mind lighter. Let the memory of Fayan and Jiwan sitting by the river, watching the water flow, stay with you. Let the sound of the river, the softness of the cherry blossoms, the warmth of the sun, lull you into a state of peace. There is no need to know. There is just this you, in this moment, perfect just as you are. Let your eyes stay closed, your breath slow. Let the world outside fade, and let the quiet inside grow. I don't know is not ignorance. It's wisdom. It's freedom. It's peace. And right now, that is all you need. The softness of Fayan's "I don't know" lingers like cherry blossom petals on waterlight, gentle and full of quiet wisdom. Let that feeling settle into your bones as we drift to one last monastery where autumn has dyed the leaves in deep reds and golds, and the air carries the earthy scent of dried rice and burning incense. This is Zufeng Monastery, perched on a hillside where the view stretches for miles, rolling mountains, misty valleys, and fields of golden rice ready for harvest. Here lives Master Zufeng Yakun, a man with a weathered face and hands calloused from years of tending to the monastery's rice fields. He doesn't teach in grand halls or speak in clever riddles. Instead, he spends most of his days in the monastery's storage yard, sitting beside a large wooden rice basket filled with newly harvested rice, its grains shining like tiny pearls, and talking to monks who come to him with questions. For Zufeng, the rice basket is more than a container for grain. It's a classroom, a place to learn the Dharma, a reminder that practice isn't something you do only in meditation halls or with scriptures. It's something you do in the everyday, in the mundane, in the act of sitting beside a rice basket and breathing. It's a crisp autumn morning. The sun is bright, but the air has a cool edge, making the monks pull their robes a little tighter as they walk to their chores. The storage yard is busy. Monks carry sacks of rice from the fields to the storage house, sweep the dirt floor, and sort through dried beans to remove any stones or debris. In the corner of the yard, Zufeng sits on a small stool beside the rice basket. He's holding a handful of rice grains, letting them slip through his fingers one by one, watching as they fall back into the basket with a soft, dry rustle. His eyes are half closed, like he's meditating, but he's alert, aware of the monks' footsteps, the sound of their voices, the way the sun moves across the sky. A young monk named Daoming walks into the yard, carrying a sack of rice slung over his shoulder. Daoming is frustrated. He's been at the monastery for a year, and he's growing impatient. He came to learn about enlightenment, but all he's done is plant rice, harvest rice, sort rice, and cook rice. He's meditated for hours in the hall, but his mind still wanders. He's read the scriptures, but they still feel like words on paper. He thought practice would be grand moments of profound insight, visions of the Buddha, a sudden breakthrough. Instead, it's ordinary, boring even. Dowming sets the sack of rice down beside the storage house and wipes sweat from his forehead. He looks over at Zufeng, sitting beside the rice basket, and sighs. He's seen other monks go to Zufeng for advice, and each time Zufeng just sits there, talking about rice, or the weather, or something equally ordinary. But Dowming is desperate. He needs to know if he's doing something wrong, if he'll ever find enlightenment, if this ordinary life will ever feel like something more. He walks over to Zufeng and bows. "Master Zufeng," he says, his voice tight with frustration, "may I ask you a question?" Zufeng opens his eyes and looks at Dowming. He doesn't stop letting rice grains slip through his fingers. "Of course," he says, his voice calm like the rustle of rice. "Sit." Dowming sits down on the ground beside Zufeng, his legs crossed. The rice basket is large, tall, enough to reach his chest, and the grains inside smell fresh, like the sun and the earth. "Master," Dowming says, "I've been practicing for a year now. I plant rice, I meditate, I read the scriptures, but I still don't feel any closer to enlightenment. I still don't understand the Dharma. Am I doing something wrong? Is there a secret I'm missing? When will I finally get it?" Zufeng doesn't answer right away. He lets another handful of rice grains slip through his fingers, watching them fall. The sound is soft, rhythmic like rain on dry leaves. "Tell me, Dowming," he says, finally, "when you carry the rice sacks from the fields to the yard, what do you think about?" Dowming frowns. "I think about how heavy the sack is," he says, "about how far I have to walk, about how tired my shoulders are, about when I'll be done." Zufeng nods. "And when you meditate in the hall, what do you think about?" "I think about how my mind won't stop wandering," Dowming says, "about how everyone else seems to be meditating so much better than me, about when I'll have that moment of enlightenment." Zufeng picks up another handful of rice grains. He holds them up to the sun, where they glow like tiny gold coins. "And when you eat the rice you've harvested, what do you think about?" Dowming pauses. I don't think about much," he says. "I eat it quickly, so I can get back to meditating or reading. I don't want to waste time on something as ordinary as eating." Zufeng lets the rice grains fall back into the basket. The rustle is soft, but it seems to fill the air, quieting the sound of the other monks, the wind in the trees, the distant bird. "You're looking for enlightenment in the wrong place, Dowming," he says. "You think it's something grand, something that will happen to you in the meditation hall, or in a scripture, or in a moment of insight, but it's not. It's here, right here, in the rice basket, in the sack on your shoulder, in the bowl of rice you eat. You're so busy looking for more that you're missing the now, the ordinary, beautiful moments that are already enlightenment." Dowming stares at the rice basket. He sees the grains shining in the sun. He smells their fresh, earthy scent. He hears the soft rustle as Zufeng lets more grains fall. But he doesn't see enlightenment. He just sees rice. "Master," he says, "how can rice be enlightenment? It's just rice. It's food." It's ordinary. Zufang smiles. He reaches into the basket and picks up a single rice grain. He holds it out to Daoming. "Look at this grain," he says. "Where did it come from?" Daoming takes the grain. It's small, hard, smooth. "It came from the rice field," he says. "How did it get there?" Zufang asks. "From a seed," Daoming says. "We planted the seed in the spring, watered it, weeded it, harvested it in the autumn, then dried it and sorted it." Zufang nods. "And who planted it? Who watered it? Who harvested it?" Daoming thinks. "I did. The other monks did. You did." Zufang takes the rice grain back from Daoming and drops it into the basket. "So, this grain of rice is not just rice," he says. "It's the sun that warmed it, the rain that watered it, the earth that nurtured it. It's your hands that planted it, your back that carried it, your patience that waited for it to grow. It's the work of everyone in the monastery, the work of the earth, the work of the sky. It's the whole world wrapped up in a single grain. And when you eat it, you're not just eating rice, you're eating the sun, the rain, the earth, the work of your hands. You're connecting to everything, to everyone. That's the Dharma. That's enlightenment. Not a grand moment, but a simple one, seeing the whole in the part, seeing the sacred in the ordinary." Daoming looks at the rice basket again. This time, he doesn't just see grains. He sees the spring, when they planted the seeds, his hands in the mud, the sun warm on his back, the sound of the other monks laughing as they worked. He sees the summer, when they watered the fields carrying buckets of water from the river, his shoulders aching, but feeling proud when he saw the rice shoots grow taller. He sees the autumn, when they harvested the rice, cutting the stalks with a sickle, the sun setting over the fields, the smell of fresh rice in the air. He sees all of it all, the moments he thought were ordinary or boring, wrapped up in those tiny grains. "I see that," he says, his voice soft. "But when I carry the rice sack, I don't feel that connection. I just feel tired. When I eat the rice, I don't feel that connection. I just feel hungry. How do I change that?" Zufang lets another handful of rice grains slip through his fingers. The sound is calming, like a lullaby. "You don't change it," he says. "You notice it. When you carry the rice sack, notice the weight on your shoulder, not as a burden, but as a reminder of the rice inside, of the work that went into growing it, of the monks who will eat it. When you eat the rice, notice the taste not as something to rush through, but as a reminder of the sun and the earth and your own hands. When you meditate, notice your mind wandering not as a failure, but as a reminder that you're alive, that your mind is just doing what minds do." Enlightenment isn't about stopping the wandering or the tiredness or the hunger. It's about noticing it, about being present with it, about seeing the connection in it. Daoming closes his eyes. He takes a deep breath, and for the first time in a long time, he doesn't think about enlightenment or the Dharma or doing something right. He thinks about the rice sack on his shoulder, the weight, the feel of the rough cloth against his skin, the smell of the rice inside. He thinks about the bowl of rice he'll eat for lunch, the warmth, the taste, the way it will fill his stomach. He thinks about his mind wandering during meditation, not as a problem, but as a sign that he's human, that he's alive. And in that moment, he feels a connection, a soft, quiet thread that links him to the rice, to the other monks, to the earth, to the sun. It's not a grand moment. It's not a breakthrough. It's just present, and that's enough. "I think I understand," Dowming says, opening his eyes. Enlightenment isn't something I have to find. It's something I have to notice. In the rice, in the work, in the ordinary moments I've been ignoring. Zufeng nods. He picks up a handful of rice and holds it out to Dowming. Here, he says. Try it. Let the grains slip through your fingers. Notice the feel of them, the sound, the way they shine in the sun. This is practice. This is the Dharma. This is enlightenment. Dowming takes the rice grains from Zufeng. They're warm from being in the sun, and they feel smooth against his palms. He lets them slip through his fingers, one by one, watching them fall into the basket. The sound is soft, rhythmic. He notices the way the grains catch the light, each one unique, each one shining. He notices the smell of the rice, fresh and earthy. He notices the warmth of the sun on his face, the cool breeze in his hair, the sound of the other monks laughing as they work. He notices. And for the first time in a year, he feels at peace. Over the next few months, Dowming starts to notice more. When he plants rice, he notices the feel of the mud between his toes, the sound of the water as he pours it over the seeds, the way the shoots push through the soil a week later. When he harvests rice, he notices the way the stalks bend under the weight of the grains, the sound of the sickle cutting through the straw, the way the sun turns the fields golden at dusk. When he eats rice, he notices the way it warms his chest, the way it tastes of the sun and the earth, the way the other monks smile as they pass the bowl around. He doesn't meditate for hours in the hall anymore. Instead, he meditates while he works, while he eats, while he sits beside the rice basket with Zu. He doesn't read the scriptures to find answers. Instead, he reads them to connect the words to the rice, to the work, to the ordinary moments of his life. One afternoon, Dowming is sitting beside the rice basket with Zu. The autumn harvest is done, and the basket is half empty. Most of the rice has been stored away for the winter. The leaves are falling from the trees, covering the yard in a carpet of red and gold. Master Dowming says, I used to think practice was about doing something special. Now I think it's about doing something ordinary, with attention, with care, with presence. Zufeng smiles. He lets a handful of rice grains slip through his fingers. Yes, he says, the most sacred thing you can do is live an ordinary life with extraordinary presence. The rice basket is not just a basket. It's a mirror showing you the Dharma in every grain, the enlightenment in every moment. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to do anything grand. You just need to sit here beside the rice basket and notice. Dowming nods. He looks at the rice grains in his hand, then lets them fall into the basket. The sound is soft, but it feels like a prayer. Thank you, Master, he says, for showing me that the Dharma is not in the grand, but in the ordinary. That enlightenment is not in the future, but in the now. Zufeng claps Dowming on the shoulder. You're welcome, he says. Now let's go help the other monks prepare dinner. I hear we're having rice porridge tonight. It will taste even better if we make it with presence. Dowming stands up, his heart light. He walks with Zufeng to the kitchen, the sound of the rice grains still echoing in his ears. He thinks about the rice porridge, warm, creamy, made with rice he helped harvest, and he smiles. This is practice. This is the Dharma. This is enough. Years later, when Zufeng passes away, Dowming takes his place beside the rice basket. He sits there every morning, letting rice grains slip through his fingers, talking to monks who come to him with questions. He tells them about the rice, where it comes from, how it grows, what it teaches. He tells them that enlightenment is not something to find, but something to notice. That practice is not something to do, but something to be. That the ordinary is not boring, it's sacred. And the monks learn. They learn to notice the rice in their bowls, the weight of the sacks on their shoulders, the sound of the wind in the trees. They learn to find enlightenment in the ordinary, to see the Dharma in the mundane, to live their lives with presence and care. They learn that the rice basket is more than a container for granites, a teacher, a reminder, a home for the Dharma. As you lie here now, let the wisdom of the rice basket wrap around you like a warm blanket. You don't need to do anything grand to find peace. You don't need to have a moment of profound insight to be enlightened. You just need to notice the feel of your blanket against your skin, the sound of your breath, the quiet of the night. These ordinary moments are sacred. They are the Dharma. They are enlightenment. Breathe in slowly and notice the air filling your lungs, the coolness, the freshness, the way it sustains you. Breathe out and notice the air leaving your body, the warmth. This is practice. This is presence. This is enough. Let your body grow heavier, your mind lighter. Let the memory of Zufeng and Daoming sitting beside the rice basket, letting grains slip through their fingers, stay with you. Let the sound of rice, the smell of earth, the warmth of the sun lull you into a state of deep peace. There is no need to search. There is no need to hurry. There is just this you in this moment, ordinary and sacred, perfect just as you are. Now, let's take a moment to let all of this settle. The stories we've shared of Jiazhou's tea, Huineng's Gatha, Beijing's work, Yunman's Hukhok, Kone Linji's Shout Dongshan's wine, Mazu's ordinary mind, Dangsha's fire, Feion's I don't know, and Zufang's rice basket, they all point to the same truth. Peace is not somewhere else. It's here, in the now, in the ordinary. In you, as your eyes grow heavy and your breath slows, remember this: you don't need to be anything more than you are. You don't need to do anything more than breathe. You are enough, right here, right now. Let the world fade away. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on a stream. Let yourself be held by the quiet, by the peace, by the truth that you are home. Good night. And when you wake, remember to notice the tea in your cup, the sun on your face, the breath in your lungs. The Dharma is waiting for you in the ordinary, in the now. Now. Let's add the gentle closing paragraph, as promised, slow and like a whisper in the dark, guiding you fully into rest. The room around you is soft now. The edges of the furniture blur. The sound of the world outside fades to a distant